Life is full of surprises. I was obsessed with hot guys, and then I stuck my hand in a socket and almost went to meet my ancestors. Luckily, they didn't accept me, and instead, I got reincarnated into another world to start a new life. It must be because of my obsession with hot guys that I was reborn as a cross-dressing crown prince. On the very first day, without understanding the situation, I chose the hottest guy to flirt with. But life isn't a bed of roses, is it? The guy I dared to tease turned out to be the first prince. The one whose name alone makes the entire court tremble like leaves, like the grim reaper coming to collect souls. Is there anyone in the assassin world more miserable than me? They clearly know that I get dizzy at the mere sight of a handsome man, yet they assign me a mission to kill the handsome Lactuda, who appears with such confidence. Whether I succeed or not, who knows? I entered the large building. Tuda glanced to her left and right. She took a running start, intending to jump over the crowded group of people ahead, and she successfully passed through the dense crowd in the building. Tuda easily jumped high over the ticket gate, doing a mid-air flip with an air of arrogance. She landed successfully. If she hadn't, there would have been trouble. The young man who had been standing at the ticket gate just moments before paused. He thought a cold gust of wind had just blown past. Lactuda, with her small and agile frame, easily jumped over the ticket gate. Her departure was incredibly stylish. She looked at the piece of paper. It probably contained the face of the next person to be checked off in the underworld. Very handsome, but for the sake of my utility bills, I'll have to endure the pain of killing him, she said. After walking for a while, Lactuda encountered a young man. Their eyes met, and the look was incredibly intimate. Looking at the young man, she couldn't help but exclaim, "Hottie." A kiss was sent to the young man, carried by the wind, courtesy of her. "Hottie, we're so fated. It's surprising that a girl as boy-crazy as me is still alive in this business. Well, this is probably the last time I'll get to admire a handsome guy." The man turned and walked away, but she still stood there, dazed and lost in thought. "Even his back is handsome," Tuda said. The young man slowly walked away, leaving her standing there, immersed in her own pink world. One would think she had completely forgotten her mission, but surprisingly, she remembered. "Tuda started herself. I forgot about you," she said. A loud bang echoed, shaking the heavens and earth. She had actually punched the generator with her bare hands. Unfortunately for Tuda, as soon as she hit the generator, crackling sound started coming from inside. It didn't sound good. She screamed as she was electrocuted. It takes a lot of luck to be this unlucky. I'm called a monster, and I'm so unwilling to die without having wooed a single hottie. Please accept my bow, Your Highness. She was floating in a strange space, but instead of being afraid, she was only thinking about hot guys. Suddenly, half of Tuda's body appeared, as if the mysterious space had spat her out. She was wearing a strange outfit. "Be gentle. Don't actually hurt His Highness, the Crown Prince." An unknown man shouted at the soldiers. One of the men raised a stick as if about to hit the person called the Crown Prince. The scene revealed a splendid and luxurious palace. If it weren't for the female protagonist's scream, "Ouch, ouch, I'm dying, ouch, ouch, ouch," she continued to scream, her face grimacing in sudden pain. "Your Highness, I warned you not to harass the court officials. They would definitely report you to the Emperor. Now see," one of them said reproachfully. Tuda continued to cry out in pain. "Come back to your senses, Crown Prince," she yelled, both startled and bewildered. "Reincarnated, and as a guy, no less. I haven't even wooed a single hottie yet," she thought to herself. Lactuda reached down to check if she was still, well, a woman. "I'm still a girl," she said with a cheerful voice, relieved to find her gender intact. "So, Crown Prince," the little eunuch began. Tuda, still calm, felt a surge of excitement. "Brother," she said, slinging an arm around the little eunuch's shoulders. "You just said that why was I beaten?" She asked, "Reporting to Your Highness, you groped the general's backside." The general complained to the Emperor. The little eunuch hesitated, then continued. "The Emperor just issued an order." "Where's the general then?" she asked, rolling up her sleeves, ready to settle the score with the person who caused her backside so much pain. "Did I grope him?" "No way, I have to grope him back," Tuda thought. "The general just went to see the Emperor," the little eunuch said fearfully. "Is the general handsome?" she asked, rubbing her chin, curious about the man. "Quite handsome. Clearly, you saw the general and got frisky, which is why you groped him," the eunuch thought, his face clearly showing 3 parts helplessness and 7 parts exasperation. Very fitting for a general. This is him. Tuda had arrived at the perfect spot to spy. Inside the palanquin, a handsome, gorgeous man appeared, looking dashing and cool, captivating hearts. Upon seeing him, Tuda couldn't help but drool. She blocked the palanquin and shouted, "Stop. You." She pointed at the palanquin. "Are you the general whose but I grope? Nothing to be ashamed of, but I'm embarrassed for you." "What if I am?" he said, looking at her sharply. "No problem. Stick your butt out and let me have a feel." This sentence deserves to be included in a collection of quotes for reflection. Is the crown prince tired of living? How dare he offend someone as cunning, powerful, and decisive as the regent, renowned throughout the land? The courtiers worried silently. Tuda looked around in confusion, frowning. She felt the atmosphere grow strange. The palanquin curtains fluttered. Suddenly, whoosh, a force erupted from within, striking towards her. Tuda's face pallid in alarm. Her assassin instincts quickly kicked in. With agile movements, she leaped back to dodge. She cried out in alarm, "If there's something to discuss, let's talk it out. Don't resort to violence so quickly." The powerful force slammed into the ground with a loud explosion. Smoke and dust billowed into the air. She shuddered, looking over. Terrifying. Tuda quickly regained her princely composure. She angrily shouted at the brat in the palanquin, "You dare attack the great crown prince, which is me. Do you know what kind of crime that is?" The surrounding guards, hearing this, immediately drew their swords. The flashing light from the blades would frighten anyone who happened to pass by, as if they were ready to strike her down right then and there. Seeing the guard's attitude, her Chishur, imposing manner/momentum, deflated like a punctured balloon. Tuda's face turned pale as she wondered, is the crown prince's status this low in ancient times? The man in the fur coat sat motionless in the carriage, his thin lips coldly saying, "You dodged. I made a move, and you dare to dodge." He raised his hand again. A green stream of energy appeared with a whoosh. Tuda nimbly jumped to avoid it, exclaiming in annoyance again, "Just you wait, I'll get my revenge." The wind blew the carriage curtains open. The man inside wore noble attire, his hair as black as ink, with phoenix eyes and arched eyebrows. His golden eyes flashed sharply. He stared coldly at the person hopping around in front of him, his hand still gathering energy for another attack. Tuda's intuition screamed a warning. Sensing the unfavorable situation, she immediately decided to run, but still maintained a gentlemanly demeanor by announcing, "I suddenly remembered something I need to take care of. I'll come back to grope you, but later when I'm free." With that, her figure vanished in a flash at the end of the road, leaving only a cloud of dust. The ministers who witnessed everything from beginning to end couldn't help but feel fear, their hearts trembling. Is the crown prince tired of living? The noble man smiled, a glint of amusement in his golden eyes. Still managed to dodge. He recalled the crown prince's indecent behavior, arm around the beautiful man. He thought to himself, the crown prince is known for being foolish, reckless, and debauched. Since when did he possess such skill? His close guard, seeing his master remain silent for so long, finally dared to ask, "My lord, should I send someone to follow the crown prince?" The man in the carriage, still holding his hand poised with power. This man was Feng Wuzhu. With a handsome appearance, he resembled a demon king who had fallen into the human realm, yet possessed the appearance of an angel. Holding a high position, he was the regent of the Tianyao kingdom. He said coldly, "No need. He will certainly pay a heavy price for angering me." Tuda wandered through the imperial garden. Peach blossoms bloomed in the wind, and the fresh, open air was pleasant, but none of it could lift her spirits. She roughly patted her clothes, hoping to make them a little cleaner. Tuda was furious, her eyes burning intensely as if she wanted to devour someone alive. "Feng Wuzhu, making me lose face in front of so many people. I will definitely get revenge." From afar, a little eunuch came running, shouting in a panicked voice, "Crown Prince, wait, don't run." She turned around in confusion. "Huh?" The little eunuch, out of breath, hurriedly reported, "The emperor is furious and looking for you." Tuda groaned inwardly. Not good. This doesn't sound good at all. She looked up hesitantly and asked, "Can I not go?" The little eunuch gave her a deadpan look, his eyes staring blankly. Is the crown prince serious? Knowing that this day would come eventually, and that there was no escaping it, Lac 2 sighed dejectedly. Well then, lead the way. Suddenly, a light bulb went off in her head, reminding her of something she hadn't done. Wait a minute, she exclaimed. Lac 2 pointed at herself and asked, right, what's my name? The little eunuch was bewildered. Did the crown prince get beaten stupid? But he was spanked, not hit on the head. The little eunuch didn't dare to speak his mind, shaking his head and replying, Your Highness, this servant wouldn't dare to directly utter your given name. Having lost all patience, she immediately yelled, I told you to say it, so just say it. Inwardly, she complained, this damned place has so many rules. Since his master had spoken, the little eunuch didn't dare to disobey. Emumblit lectuda. The corner of her mouth twitched repeatedly. A wave of embarrassment washed over her. My ears must have been damaged by Feng Wuju's attack. Lac 2 had actually misheard her own name. She clutched her head in distress, angrily yelling, Lac 2. What kind of a ridiculous name is that? But regardless, the little eunuch led her to the emperor's residence. We've arrived, Crown Prince. Lac 2 stood before the door, hesitant to enter, tiptoeing and peeking around. Just then, an angry voice boomed, Get in here. She dejectedly walked inside, groaning inwardly. This doesn't look good. The voice belonged to Lac Xiaofeng, the emperor of Tianyao. His stern face exuded the majesty and authority of a ruler, the very image of not angry, but still mighty from legends. Before Lac 2 could even reach him, the emperor, unable to contain his anger, scolded, offending the protector general wasn't enough. You even dared to provoke Regent Feng Wuju. She had nothing left to argue with, so she could only tear up and put on a weak, pitiful act, her eyes glistening. No matter how angry Lac Qiufeng was, he could only hold back in the face of his child's display. He sighed and asked, Have you given any thought to your future today? Lac 2, completely unafraid, seeing her father soften, immediately spouted nonsense. My aching butt, its future will be flat. It won't be able to perk up again. As expected, the emperor slammed his hand down in anger upon hearing this. He angrily scolded, insolent, but she remained calm, waving her hand dismissively, without any psychological hindrance, making up a story to convince her father. Father, why get angry? This son suspects that the general accused me to you in hopes of getting your support, to force me to take responsibility for him. Actually, he's been secretly in love with me for a long time. Just as she finished speaking, the sound of heavy footsteps suddenly echoed, startling her. From behind the curtain, a foot slowly stepped out. A man appeared, clad in bright red armor, his serious face and thin, silver lips devoid of emotion. He clasped his hands before the emperor, his back ramrod straight, unyielding like a proud bamboo stalk. He said, Reporting to your majesty, what His Highness the Crown Prince surmised is completely false. This subject absolutely harbors no such thoughts. I beg your majesty to discern the truth. Lac 2's eyes shone like car headlights. Unable to restrain her desire to admire the handsome man, she cupped her face and thought, Oh my God, what a stunningly handsome man. Unexpectedly, he's such a hunk. Long Gao Dyke, as if sensing the perverted gaze directed at him with less than pure intentions, turned his head and looked at her with the most disdainful look imaginable. This crazy crown prince. She, however, paid no attention to this, only imagining the delicious meal before her. Unable to hold back, she licked her lips lewdly, thinking, is that shy look in the beauty's eyes shyness? Lac Qiufeng could only sigh and speak up for her. Please forgive him, General. The Crown Prince is still young and doesn't know how to watch his words. I have disciplined him today. He certainly won't dare to disrespect the general again. Hearing the emperor's words, Long Gao Dyke had to comply. He cupped his hands and replied, Yes, your majesty. This subject will take his leave. He turned and left, leaving Lac 2 desperately calling after him. Hey. She watched his retreating figure with disappointment. Now she just wanted to keep the handsome man from leaving. Hadi, don't go. Don't go. Lac Qiufeng roared angrily. Enough. Go back and reflect on yourself. If you do this again, I will not spare you. Startled, she replied, Yes. Lac 2 clasped her hands together and sincerely replied, Yes, I will definitely reflect on myself. Please take care of your health, father. I'll take my leave. Then Then she ran out like lightning, leaving her father to sit there and sigh in exasperation. Laktuda ran outside and chased after him, waving and calling loudly, "General Hadi." "Wait a minute." Long Geo Dyke, surprised and puzzled, asked General Hadi. He coldly replied, "I don't dare accept the title Hadi. May I ask what instructions your highness has?" Laktuda placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "No instructions. I just want to let you know." She leaned closer, deliberately speaking ambiguously. "My feelings for you are sincere. I hope you'll think about it carefully." Long Geo Dyke frowned and brushed her hand away, bluntly replying, "Please don't joke, your highness. This subject wouldn't dare to have any involvement with your highness." Inwardly, he cursed her. Is Laktuda crazy? Has he forgotten that we are both men? Not only was she not embarrassed, but she directly caressed Long Geo Dyke's chest. "Don't reject me so quickly. I know what I just said might be a bit surprising, but we can start as friends." She stroked his chin, which sported a few stubbly hairs. "You can touch me and see," she said, looking at him with a suggestive gaze. "And I can touch your alluring chin. Maybe we'll both feel the electric shock of love at first sight." Long Geo Dyke, as if not believing his ears, repeated her words, "Be friends." He quickly took a few steps back, carefully keeping his distance. Bowing respectfully, he said, "Your Highness, this subject is merely a servant and does not dare to accept such an honor. Please also maintain your decorum, your Highness. This subject has matters to attend to and must take his leave." With that, he turned and left, leaving her utterly humiliated. No respect at all. Laktuda clenched her fists, her face determined, and said bitterly, "Feng Wuju, you not only made me lose face, but you also cost me the chance to woo a hottie." The image of Feng Wuju sneering at her appeared in her mind. She yelled, "You're dead meat." Laktuda watched Long Geo Dyke's retreating figure and muttered inwardly, "This guy." She slammed her fist into a nearby tree trunk. Furious, she roared at the little eunuch beside her, "Bring me some things. This crown prince wants to give the regent a proper gift." Hearing this, the little eunuch was on the verge of tears. "What is your highness planning now?" Meanwhile, at the city gate, a magnificent palanquin arrived. Yanlai approached the palanquin, bowed respectfully, and greeted, "Welcome, my lord." The curtain of the palanquin was drawn back, revealing Feng Wu Zhu dozing inside. Just then, a servant rushed over to report to Yanlai, "Sir Yanlai, it's terrible. Something's happened." Yanlai, slightly irritated, asked, "What is it? Why are you panicking like this? If you disturb his lordship, you won't have enough heads to pay for it." The servant approached and whispered in Yanlai's ear to avoid disturbing Feng Wuju. Just now, His Highness the Crown Prince. Hearing the news, Yanlai couldn't hide his surprise. "What? Is the Crown Prince tired of living?" In contrast to Yanlai's seriousness, His Highness the Crown Prince was leisurely fanning himself, sitting cross-legged on a throne and giving orders. "Hurry up and dig. I'll reward you if you do a good job." Before Laktuda, people were following her orders, digging in the regent's courtyard. The sounds of shovels hitting the ground created a cheerful clanging. Laktuda said smugly, "I'm digging a sewage ditch in front of the regent's residence. I don't believe I can't stink him to death." The little eunuch was utterly exasperated with his master, crying, "Crown Prince, do you really want to do this? Aren't you afraid of what the regent will do to us?" It seemed that none of the little eunuch's words reached her ears. She smiled triumphantly. This crown prince is doing a good deed. Like a wise and virtuous leader, she thought of the people in the country. What's there to be afraid of when it's for the benefit of the people of the capital? The little eunuch's heart was filled with fear. He hadn't given up on persuading her. But digging a ditch right in front of the regent's residence is no different from courting death. She seemed unconcerned, still fanning herself and using the same reasoning. "I'm doing this for the good of the people of the capital. Should I give up just because it affects one person's life?" At this moment, a crow perched on a tree, observing everything. The crow saw something. They dared to dig that stinking thing past Master's house. Its eyes widened in anger. It took flight and swooped down towards her, scolding, "You stupid fools. What are you doing?" Hearing the voice, she thought, "What strange voice is that?" She saw the crow soaring in the sky. She looked up at the sky and saw a vermilion bird. "Wow," she muttered, "first time I've seen a talking vermilion bird." Seeing that she was paying no attention to its words, it shrieked angrily, "Stupid human. The regent is at the residence, Crow. Have you considered Crow's feelings?" Hearing the bird's words, she laughed mockingly. "Stupid bird. It should be, Crow is at the regent's residence, not the other way around." The bird, feeling mocked, flapped its wings furiously refusing to concede. Crow has been around for years. What Crow says is right. It was unclear what Lactuda was thinking. She just smiled wickedly. She threw a stick directly at the vermilion bird. She wanted to teach it a lesson for its arrogance. Bullseye. The stick hit the bird squarely, making it cry out. The vermilion bird fell to the ground with a thud right beside her feet. She gently picked it up, take it away, and roast it. The servant beside her could only obey. Yes, I'll go right away. The bird, now hanging upside down in her hand, despite being dazed, still threatened her. Stupid human, you'll pay for what you've done. At that moment, a loud crash echoed from the regent's residence, shattering the silence. The regent sat on his throne, one hand propping up his head. His expression was as cold as ever, his eyes closed as he rested. Despite this, the regent was sharp and didn't miss a thing. Immediately after the crash, Yen Lai, his close guard, rushed in, not daring to delay. He bowed his head fearfully and reported, "My lord." The regent slowly opened his eyes. His sharp gaze pierced the silence, making the atmosphere tense. He frowned in annoyance and ordered, "Speak." A chilling aura emanated from him, filling Yen Lai with dread. His Highness the Crown Prince has dug a sewage ditch near the regent's residence. He slammed his hand on the armrest, his face turning icy. He narrowed his eyes. That lacked 2D.is he truly tired of living. A powerful energy radiated from the regent, suffocating the surrounding air. Just then, the regent's vermilion bird plummeted from the sky with a loud thud, landing in a dirty heap, feathers scattered, its wings disheveled as if it had just gone through a great battle. Seeing the regent, it hurriedly flew towards him, landing before him and squawking frantically, "Help. The crown prince has gone mad. He said he wants to roast me. Then he'll roast you. He wants to strip your clothes, even your underwear." The vermilion bird chattered incessantly, seemingly unable to contain its fear and anxiety. However, the regent's expression remained unchanged. He paid no attention to Crow's miserable state, only coldly saying, "Useless." The vermilion bird didn't dare to retort, quickly defending itself. Crow was just careless, but it didn't forget to boast about itself. Crow is mighty. Crow is a divine beast. However, it seemed that this had pushed Feng Wu-Zhu to his limit. He couldn't tolerate it any longer. His face darkened, and his voice dripped with killing intent. "Yen Lai, take some men and raise the crown prince's residence to the ground." His words were an undeniable command. Yen Lai immediately bowed his head. Yes, he didn't dare to resist. He understood that when the regent gave an order, no one could defy him. Lactuda, still oblivious, suddenly sneezed. She sniffled, a strange feeling rising in her chest. An inexplicable anxiety settled over her. Why do I suddenly feel so uneasy? Is Feng Wu-Zhu plotting something? Feng Wu-Zhu raged. If I hear that the crown prince's residence is still standing tomorrow, I will hold you accountable. Yen Lai, not daring to hesitate, hastily obeyed. He asked, should we mobilize the royal guards? The regent scoffed disdainfully. Dealing with him doesn't require the royal guards. A gust of wind blew, and Lactuda sneezed again. She turned and asked the little eunuch, "How large is the Tian Yao Imperial Army? And who controls the military power?" The little eunuch replied, "The Tian Yao Imperial Court has 600,000 troops. His Majesty, the Regent, and General Long each command 200,000. Hearing this, she sneered, thinking the regent arrogant. Feng Wu-Zhu only has 200,000 troops, and he dares to be so arrogant. The little eunuch, hearing this, wanted to cry. Besides the 200,000 troops, His Excellency the Regent also has the royal guards. Although there are only 20,000 of them, each one can fight 100 men. Recalling the regent's previous glorious achievements, the little eunuch said, the regent once dispatched 2,000 royal guards and defeated 600,000 elite troops from the Xianrong countries. She finally grasped the situation, exclaiming in alarm, 1 against 100. Doesn't that mean he has 1,000,000 soldiers? As if reading her mind, the little eunuch corrected, 220,000. She started to feel afraid, realizing she was outmatched. Even if she was the crown prince, what could she do? She racked her brains for an escape plan. Should I pack my bags and run away? Disguise myself as a ragged beggar, but a rich one? The little eunuch was near tears. Crown prince, the regent is not only supremely powerful, but also unparalleled in beauty. Why offend him? It seemed her focus on his words was misplaced. What? Feng Wu-Zhu unparalleled in beauty. The little eunuch, sensing her country bumpkin-like reaction, asked, don't you know? Suddenly, she flew into a rage. Is he that handsome? Why didn't you tell me sooner? She clutched her chest, launching into a dramatic performance. My heart aches. Tears streamed down her face as she collapsed onto a chair, looking heartbroken. Knowing this truth, my tears flow like rivers. The little eunuch, watching her act, was speechless. She rested her hand on her forehead, slightly irritated. I was truly blinded by beauty. If I had known earlier, why would I have sought revenge? If he's a beauty, his actions are acceptable. The little eunuch couldn't keep up with the crown prince's thoughts anymore. Crown Prince, are we still digging? Seeing that the little eunuch didn't understand, she snapped. Why are we still digging? Clean up and go back to the residence. From now on, the regent's residence is my home. How can I live in such a smelly place? The little eunuch was confused. Crown Prince, what do you mean, my home? He prayed silently. Buddha, please don't let this mean the Crown Prince wants to seize the regent's residence by force. She calmly fanned herself and replied, someone as beautiful as Feng Wuzhu, I must think of every possible way to. She emphasized her next words, marry Feng Wuzhu. Hearing this, the little eunuch was even more shocked, gasping, marry the regent. That's even worse than seizing his residence. At least you'd still be in one piece. Spring arrived and flowers bloomed. On a beautiful morning in the Crown Prince's residence, the sound of happy munching could be heard. Crown Prince Lac Tuda sat in the luxurious main hall, a table laden with fruit before her. She propped her chin on her hand and took a bite of an apple, a relaxed expression on her face. From afar, a servant rushed in, his tone urgent. Crown Prince, it's terrible. His face was filled with fear. He knelt down and continued his report. Sir Yin Lai of the regent's residence has brought the royal guards. They are outside the Crown Prince's residence. Soldiers in full armor stood in a long, imposing line outside the gates, Yin Lai at their head. The Crown Prince chuckled softly, picking up her teacup and taking a sip. Looks like my beauty is really angry. Despite the smile on her face, her tone was slightly annoyed. She closed her eyes briefly. Being a beauty means being easily angered. The servant yelled, it's terrible, followed by crashing sounds. Sir Yin Lai is having the Crown Prince's residence walls demolished. Battering rams, operated by soldiers, slammed against the walls. The collapsing walls created loud booms, and dust flew everywhere. The soldiers showed no signs of stopping, continuing to demolish the walls under Yin Lai's command. Crown Prince, it's terrible. Sir Yin Lai has ordered men to set fire to the back of the Crown Prince's residence. The rear courtyard is on fire. Large flames erupted in the rear courtyard, smoke billowing into the sky. The collapsing walls and the raging fire created a scene of utter chaos. The Crown Prince gritted her teeth, her face darkening. What a terrible personality. But her expression softened. It's all right. As long as he's beautiful, I can accept it. It doesn't matter if a few flowers and plants in the rear courtyard burn down. Just as she finished speaking, small pieces of tile fell from the ceiling onto the food table, making soft, clinking sounds. She looked up at the ceiling, wondering what's going on. Her eyes widened in shock. A large rock fell directly from the ceiling onto where she was sitting, crushing the food table. But she quickly escaped. She quickly landed in a different spot. Lac Tuda's eyes reddened, her hands clenching into fists. She roared, what's going on now? The servant's eyes widened in terror. It's terrible. Sir Yin Lai is using catapults to attack the main gate of the Crown Prince's residence. Outside, rocks flew directly into her residence. She clenched her fists, her face contorted in anger. Feng Wuzhu, you've gone too far. I'm going to demolish the regent's residence. Under the beautiful night sky at the regent's residence, a cool breeze blew. From above, an explosive was thrown into the residence. A loud explosion followed, smoke, dust, and debris flying everywhere, startling those inside. Someone, a servant yelled, there's an assassin. Protect his lordship. A voice replied from the rooftop. Lac Tuda calmly held a homemade explosive in her hand. Standing on the roof, she yelled down, Feng Wuzhu, Grandpa's here. Her eyes were determined. A gentleman can be killed, but not humiliated. Feng Wuzhu, come out and face your death. Suddenly, the tiles beneath her feet cracked. She lost her footing and fell through. Her face was filled with despair. She reached towards the sky as if trying to grasp something, but couldn't. With a loud splash, she fell into a bath. The room was simply decorated, dimly lit, with a pot of flowers in the center. Looking closely, it was a bath, and inside was a man bathing in hot water. Steam filled the room. She flailed, surfacing and regaining some composure. Opening her eyes, she gasped in shock. Her hand was touching a firm chest. The man's hair was dripping wet and dark. His voice was deep, his expression cold and impassive. The crown prince comes to visit in the middle of the night. The man's features were cold and sharp. His gaze met hers without a ripple, his hand resting casually on the edge of the tub as if enjoying himself. She quickly withdrew her hand, wondering what's going on. The humid, warm air of the bathroom made her blush. Their eyes locked, leaving Lactude flustered and breathless. Her eyes sparkled and her cheeks flushed. Be beautiful, incredibly beautiful. The man looked at her with a puzzled expression. Crown Prince, don't you think our current position is a bit problematic? Realizing she was sitting on top of him, she admitted that their position was indeed a little inappropriate. A blush crept on her face, and she stammered, about that. Suddenly, the man stood up, sending a wave of bath water splashing onto her face, knocking her backward. Soaked to the bone, she watched as he reached for a robe and put on. He looked down at her coldly and said, I wonder why the crown prince has come to cause trouble at my regent's residence. Despite the regent's coldness, his beauty was truly mesmerizing. So handsome. Trying to contain her excitement, she lightly touched her face, her other hand gripping the edge of the tub. This crown prince is just returning the favor. I wonder what the regent thinks about that. A cold glint, tinged with amusement, flickered in his eyes. Has the crown prince come here to provoke me? It's been a long time since anyone dared to do so. He raised his hand, and streams of green fire shot toward her. Her eyes widened in shock. What the hell? Facing the oncoming flames, she quickly jumped. The green fire hit the water, creating a loud explosion. Water splashed everywhere. The tiles cracked and flew in all directions, forcing her to shield her face. The steam vanished completely. Tu das face darkened in surprise. What has happened? Quickly regaining her composure, she flushed crimson, her hands clenching. Feng Wu Zhu, you bastard. He turned his back to her, his gaze cold, but raised his hand again, conjuring more green fire, as if to threaten her. Someone, seize him. From outside, Yin Lai clasped his hands and obeyed. Yes, Lactude, looking defeated and on the verge of tears, muttered, no need to be so ruthless. Retreat, retreat. She used her qigong to fly back up through the hole she had fallen through, leaving the mess behind. Looking down from the hole, she shook her fist and pointed at the regent. A gentleman's revenge is never too late. Ganging up on me. I'm not playing with you anymore. With that, she fled, leaving small pieces of wood falling behind her. The regent looked up at the hole. I've changed my mind. Just capture him. A hint of a smile played on his lips. Death isn't enough to atone for his mistakes. Lactude's life isn't enough to compensate for his offenses. Under the bright moonlight, a nimble figure leaped across rooftops, moving swiftly in the wind. A building with ancient beauty appeared under the moonlight. Below, in the bustling, noisy streets, shouts echoed. He's over there. Catch him. The figure stopped, hands on their knees. Lactude gasped for breath, standing before a brightly lit building with a bustling crowd coming and going. I am exhausted. She yelled at the people in front of her. Excuse me. Excuse me. Out of the way. She used her spiritual power to propel herself forward, dashing into the flow of people crossing the bridge. Someone she bumped into grumbled, hey, watch it. Lactude chose a random room and pushed the door open. Then she quickly rushed inside the dark room. Under the moonlight, in the silent night, a rumbling sound suddenly echoed, like an approaching army, disturbing the surrounding peace. It turned out to be a company of fully armed soldiers approaching the building. The troops quickly split into two groups, flanking a figure who strode towards the courtyard entrance. The young man in green at the front shouted orders, surround the area. Yin Lai orders that not even a fly gets through. The soldiers quickly dispersed, following his command. Inside a pitch-black room, Lactude slammed the door shut just in time. She breathed a sigh of relief, having finally escaped. Phew! Finally, a moment to rest. She fumbled around in the darkness, hoping to figure out where she was. Where's this place? Suddenly, she bumped into someone, yelping ouch. Lactude squinted, trying to see who was in front of her. She saw a delicate and stunningly beautiful man with sharp features, almost feminine in appearance. He wore revealing yet elegant clothing that exuded an alluring charm. Stunned by his beauty, she thought, whoa, another beauty. I'm so lucky to keep encountering bathing beauties today. The man adjusted his hair and softly addressed the stranger in his room. This guest is rather unusual. The sight of the beautiful man made her fidget, her eyes sparkling with giant hearts. Her cheeks flushed, and her jaw dropped as she thought, so handsome. A fierce internal battle raged within her. The evil side urged her to act on her impulses and pounce on him, while the good side tried to restrain her, warning that she would scare the beauty. Externally, she couldn't help but have a nosebleed, her infatuation evident on her face. Suddenly, shouts from soldiers outside startled her. She turned her head and saw armed soldiers outside. By order of the regent, arrest the fugitive. No one is allowed to leave. Violators will be killed on sight. Seeing them, she exclaimed, "Oh no." The night was quiet and moonlit, peach blossoms blooming outside the window. Soldiers surrounded the courtyard, and the guests inside were called out one by one for inspection. Some seemed unwilling, but the soldiers carried out their orders. "You over there, you upstairs." Inside a room, Lactude fearfully peeked through a crack in the door, the shadows of the soldiers on the door increasing her anxiety. Unaware, a man in red was watching her strange behavior from behind. Incite stared, astonished, wondering who this person acting so strangely was. He softly called out, "Hey." His delicate fingers touched his exquisite chin, his cherry lips parting slightly as if understanding what was happening. His mesmerizing eyes looked at her. "Are they here to arrest you?" Lactude nodded. "Yes." Understanding her situation, Incite decided to help. "Hide in the bed. I'll deal with them." Without a shred of shame, Lactude jumped onto the bed, not even bothering to take off her shoes. She still managed to thank him. "Thank you." After she settled in, he opened the door. A soldier stood waiting outside. Seeing him emerge, the soldier coldly questioned, "Have you seen any suspicious individuals?" Incite, his beautiful face impassive, calmly replied, "I was drinking alone just now, so I didn't hear anything." The soldier, knowing he had lost his quarry and gained nothing, and that staying longer would only waste time, turned and ordered the others. He got away. "Search elsewhere." Lactude, lying on the beauty's bed, was practically drooling with satisfaction. A beauty's bed is different, so fragrant. Incite, having dismissed the soldiers, closed his door with a click. Incite turned, a calculating look on his face. He walked to the bed and looked down at her. This little act wasn't going to be free. "You owe me one." Lactude, ever agreeable, burrowed further under the covers, her cheeks flushed with a look of such willingness. She tilted her head and asked, "All right, how about I repay your kindness with my body?" Hearing this, he stroked his chin thoughtfully. "Repay with your body." A glint of interest appeared in his eyes. The bright moon, the starry night sky, the scent of flowers wafting through the window. It was a perfect scene. However, someone as easily captivated by beauty as Lactude was oblivious to the approaching danger, her face full of anticipation, her mind consumed by infatuation. "I can't resist the allure of beautiful people." He grabbed the expensive silk blanket and tossed it into the air. Incite, encountering such shamelessness, played along, leaning close with a seductive expression. "You've made me yearn for you, yet you don't know the pain of my longing." Lying close together on the bed, he lifted her chin and asked softly, "I wonder who this person is that has captured my heart." Caught off guard by his sudden closeness, she could only react after a moment, pulling back as far as possible. "Why so forward?" Her face betrayed her panic, but she stammered, "The person I yearn for yes, of course you." Her expression and answer made Incite chuckle. "You're quite interesting." He sat up gracefully and took her hand, reminding her of the earlier debt. "I said earlier that you owe me one." Lactude blushed and looked away, embarrassed. I'll repay you. I'll definitely repay your kindness." Incite lowered his head, his eyes turning cold. "If that's the case." He leaned close and whispered in her ear, "Then leave your life here." His words stunned her. He gave her a moment to process, then turned and placed his delicate feet on the floor. Still, he wanted to know her answer. Looking back at Lactude, sitting on the bed, he asked playfully, "Don't tell me you're going back on your word." Of course, she wasn't that kind of person. She smiled reassuringly. "Of course not." Lactude stepped closer to him and said ambiguously, "But I feel that if you wanted my life." Gently touching his shoulder, she whispered to Incite, confidently expressing her thoughts, "You wouldn't have saved me just now." Holding a wine flask, he asked, "Then tell me, why do you think I saved you?" Since her bluff was called, Lactude no longer hid her true intentions. "Perhaps you've guessed my identity and feel I'm worth using." With that, she pushed off the floor and leaped towards the window, shouting back, "Consider this a debt I owe you. I'll definitely repay you later." She helpfully added, "Oh, and one more thing. Drink to mend your broken heart." Watching her go, Ingqin was left alone in the room, pondering her parting words. "Drink to mend my broken heart. What does that mean?" Though he wondered aloud, he already had an answer. He lifted the wine flask, but didn't drink, a melancholic look in his eyes as he confessed his feelings. "If I don't drink, then my heart will break." Elsewhere, charred pillars and a shattered statue lay among the ruins. In another corner, flames erupted from the entrance of the residence, black smoke billowing into the sky and carried away by the wind. The scene inside was equally desolate. Lactuda, having run a long distance, arrived at the scene, hands on her knees. A section of the wall and part of the entrance to her residence were destroyed, flames still flickering inside. Seeing her residence in ruins, she was furious. "Damn Feng Wuzhu. I wonder how much it will cost to repair this." Suddenly, a projectile flew towards her from afar, clearly aimed with intent. With her nimble reflexes, this little trick was no match for her. With a single hand, Lactuda easily caught it, shouting, "Who dares to ambush me?" She saw an intricately patterned pouch attached to the projectile. Inside, she found a piece of paper and a golden token. Seeing the inscription, she stroked her chin thoughtfully. An imperial decree. Sounds serious. She couldn't help but imagine assassins wielding weapons and potentially harming innocent people. This frightened her. "So many people will come bother me because of this." The thought enraged her. She shouted at the hidden figures, Who wants to frame me? I won't get involved in this mess." Suddenly, a thought flashed through her mind. The image of Feng Wuzhu and his hateful face appeared in her mind. It must be him. Just thinking about him ignited her fury. Her eyes blazed with vengeance. "Feng Wuzhu, you bastard." A carriage sped down the main road, turning heads. Inside, Lactuda yawned, casually picking her nose without a care. Looking out the window, she thought, so boring. The carriage sped through the streets, unaware of the danger lurking, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. A sword slashed down, ripping through the carriage roof. Tuda quickly noticed and glanced at the attackers. Seeing her, the assassin quickly thrust his sword inside, intending to attack the occupant. She smirked. "So slow. You think you can hurt me with that?" More assassins appeared, creating chaos. The panicked driver cried out, "Protect His Highness. Protect His Highness. There's an assassin." With a loud bang, the carriage door burst open. Tuda seized the opportunity and bolted, inwardly rejoicing. "Trying to ambush me. No way." The assassins on the roof, witnessing this, yelled angrily, "He's running away." She looked back and ordered her guards, "Deal with these brats. I'm out of here." With that, Tuda ran off, leaving the bewildered guards muttering, "What just happened?" The subordinates, seeing their master vanish, called after him in astonishment, "Crown Prince." Inwardly, they cursed, "Why is my life so hard?" One of the assassins asked, "Big brother, what do we do now?" The one addressed as Big Brother replied, "Report back to young master first." Inside the palace, a cool breeze blew. Tuda stomped up the stairs, fuming. "It's definitely because of that damned imperial decree that I'm being chased." She angrily growled, "It's all because of that damned Feng Wuzhu." Humming a tune, Tuda entered the palace. She ran into a eunuch approaching her. The eunuch hurriedly announced, "His Excellency, the regent, has entered the palace." Tuda froze. "Speak of the devil." She quickly turned to leave, her eyes darting around, desperate to avoid this awkward encounter. "I can't beat him in a fight. Better to run." Suddenly, a large shadow appeared overhead, startling her. The figure gradually materialized, his voice a low murmur. "Crown Prince, long time no see." Tuda felt a surge of dread. What bad luck. Feng Wuzhu, handsome and imposing, holding a flute, looked down at her and said, "The Crown Prince seems to be in high spirits this morning." Tuda forced a calm reply. "Quite cheerful." Why wouldn't this Crown Prince be cheerful? Inwardly, however, she cursed him relentlessly. "Ever since I received that imperial decree, I've been chased every single day." "Cheerful my ass." Feng Wuzhu smirked. "I hope the Crown Prince can remain cheerful for a few more days." Tuda frowned angrily. "Regent, has no one told you that it's rude to talk down to people?" Feng Wuzhu retorted, "You don't know what's good for you." Suddenly, he materialized a peculiar flute. It quickly flew towards Tuda, striking her leg as a warning. Tuda cried out in pain, clutching her leg. Seething with resentment, she thought, "I can lose anything but not my dignity." Suddenly, she smirked. Looking at him, she said, "The regent's methods are nothing special." Feng Wuzhu thought, "I used 80% of my strength, and he's still standing there." Those defiant eyes are truly irritating. His slender hand shot out from his sleeve, reaching for Tu Da's slender neck. Feng Wuzhu tightened his grip, pulling her closer. Tuda struggled, crying out, "Feng Wuzhu, let me go. Let me go." She looked at him in pain. She struggled, her face darkening with rage. "Feng Wuzhu." He narrowed his eyes and said, "Lack Tuda," his voice serious. "Are you sure you can bear the consequences of provoking me? I control many things, including your life." Tuda defiantly retorted, "So what?" Losing his patience, he threatened, "Do you believe I can break every single bone in your arrogant body?" Instead of being afraid, Tuda was enraged. "My body has no arrogant bones, only normal ones, and a few pounds of pork belly. Don't bother guessing." Feng Wuzhu released his grip, muttering, "Interesting." Looking down at her, he continued, "I'm finding you more and more intriguing." Tuda coughed, hunched over. "I almost choked to death." She gritted her teeth and said sarcastically, "What an honor." Feng Wuzhu stepped closer and lifted her chin. "I'm feeling generous today. I'll reward you with some information." As Tuda looked at him in confusion, he continued, "The imperial decree in your possession is fake, and I didn't send it." Tuda was stunned. "What?" Feng Wuzhu glanced at her, then asked the question on his mind, curious. "Besides me, who else have you offended to this extent?" Tuda frowned. "If you didn't do it, how would you know the imperial decree in my possession is fake?" She thought to herself, could the real decree be in his hands? Feng Wuzhu stepped closer, lifted her chin, and made a proposition. "Starting today, be my obedient pet. Perhaps I can protect you from certain death." Tuda lowered her head, quickly avoiding his gaze, and stroked her chin thoughtfully. After a moment, she looked up at him. "Fine, Lord Regent, be my master then." She pointed to her injured leg. "Since that's the case, shouldn't you personally treat this crown prince's injury?" Feng Wuzhu reached out and wrapped his arms around Tuda's waist. He leaned in close and whispered, "This body of yours, I can personally treat it for you." Maintaining his hold, he continued, "Come to my residence tonight." Tuda's heart fluttered. "Tonight." He smirked. "Understood." Suddenly, a mischievous grin spread across her face. "So, going to the regent's residence tonight means taking off my pants." Feng Wuzhu leaned in close and whispered in her ear, "Your looks aren't enough to interest me." Tuda, annoyed, sighed dramatically and yelled, "Damn it, you were the one who seduced me first." Just as Feng Wuzhu was about to move closer, she quickly pushed him away and said, "We're going to be late for Father's birthday celebration." Turning her back to him, she continued, her mouth still running, "Father has been waiting for you for a long time." She gave him an awkward farewell. "I'll go ahead." Feng Wuzhu watched her, a new plan forming in his mind. Interesting. He reached out, grabbed her waist, and pulled her closer, then lifted her into the air. Tuda, startled, cried out in alarm. Feng Wuzhu said, "How can a pet leave before its master?" She yelled angrily, "Feng Wuzhu, put me down. This crown prince doesn't need this kind of image." Tuda quickly looked for an excuse to get down. Looking at his belt, she thought, "I can't undo the belt." She glanced at him worriedly. "Otherwise, my identity will be exposed." Feng Wuzhu calmly replied, "Worrying about your image is less important than worrying about who wants you dead." Tuda retorted, "Who says I'm not thinking about it? How do you know I don't have an answer?" Feng Wuzhu pulled her closer, teasing her, making her cry out in fear. Left with no choice, Tuda grabbed the edge of Feng Wuzhu's robe for support. He asked coldly, "So have you decided? Top or bottom?" He lifted her up again and calmly walked forward. "Lack Tuda, oh Lack Tuda, what kind of person are you? Are you the same kind of person as me?" Tuda, dangling below, picked her nose and muttered, "I'll try top first. If top works, I'll take it. If top doesn't work, then bottom. We'll try both." They entered the main hall. Tuda fumed inwardly. "Feng Wuzhu, just you wait." Feng Wuzhu suddenly let go, sending her tumbling to the ground. "Remember this." Looking down at her, he said softly, "So, how are you going to be the top? Do you have a plan yet?" She scrambled to her feet, sat down on a chair, and replied, "You'll see when the time comes." She chuckled. "Lord Regent, you just need to see the results. Why worry about my plans?" Feng Wuzhu, his mind already scheming, thought, clearly not someone at their wits' end. "I couldn't pull off such shameless behavior, but somehow, it's not even that annoying coming from her." At the grand banquet, a voice announced, "The regent arrives." Lack Chufeng looked down from his seat and said, "How has the regent been lately?" Feng Wuzhu replied, "Last night, the regent's residence was attacked by assassins, causing significant damage. He glanced at Tuda, continuing, I wonder if the crown prince will be willing to repair the residence for me. Tuda, mid-chicken leg, widened her eyes. Repair his residence. Does he think I'm a construction worker or something? Lak Fong, hearing this, readily agreed. The crown prince lives a life of leisure. A little physical activity would do him good. He quickly ordered Crown Prince, see to this matter properly. Tuda inwardly seated. I understand, my ass. Does this crown prince title even mean anything? She glared at Feng Wuzhu. Feng Wuzhu, calmly sipping his tea, bowed respectfully. This subject obeys. The emperor chuckled, stroking his beard. Very good. She glared at Feng Wuzhu, fuming. Making me fix your house. One calm, one furious, their eyes locked. Tuda wanted nothing more than to tear him apart. Feng Wuzhu, don't you regret this? Their gazes clashed, a spark seeming to pass between them. He added, his voice laced with provocation, don't forget to come tonight, Crown Prince. As night fell and the moon rose, two figures in elegant attire walked down a path. A servant announced, the first prince and the three princesses of Long Zhao have arrived. The first prince, holding a jade fan, and the three princesses wore smug expressions. I bring gifts on behalf of my father to offer congratulations. A servant brought forward a brightly colored red object. This is snow coral from the South China Sea. There are only two in existence. Standing in the main hall, the first prince announced, one is for the Emperor of Tianyao as a congratulatory gift, and the other is for the esteemed regent of your kingdom as a token of respect. The Emperor of Tianyao, his face benevolent, replied, your generosity is too much. Princesses, please be seated. They sat opposite the crown prince and the regent. Lak Tu swirled the wine in her cup, a bored expression on her face. Propping her chin on her hand, she thought disdainfully, how boring. Gold, silver, and jewels would have been more practical. The regent, observing Lak Tu's displeasure, smiled faintly. Esteemed guests have arrived, yet the crown prince, as the heir apparent, only lowers his head to drink. What does this mean? He wondered how she would respond. Lak Tu gritted her teeth. That thorny Feng Wuzhu. I didn't provoke you, so why are you bothering me? The first prince, seeing this, added fuel to the fire. Crown Prince, are we from Long Zhao not worthy of your attention? Tuda played with her hair and chuckled, feigning a waits you, wrong/aggrieved expression. Long Zhao offered gifts to my father and the regent, but not to me. I'm just a little sad, so I'm having a few drinks. The regent's lips curled slightly, daring to ask for my gifts. Lak Tuda is the first. The first prince, surprised, exclaimed, oh. He quickly apologized to Tuda. I was not thoughtful enough. I will certainly prepare a grand gift later to apologize to the crown prince. Tuda feigned indifference. I've long heard of the blood coral. She smiled gracefully and looked at the regent. Could you let this crown prince have one of the blood corals? Then the first prince can prepare a gift to apologize to the regent later. Feng Wuzhu glanced at her, thinking truly audacious. The third princess, Wu Luyu, smiled sweetly, but her tone was sharp as she looked at the crown prince. This blood coral is one of only two in the world. Only those of exceptional caliber are worthy of possessing it. What merits does the crown prince have to deserve the blood coral? Tuda twirled a strand of hair, a playful glint in her eyes. I am the crown prince, the future emperor. Is the regent's status in your eyes truly higher than the emperor's? Feng Wuzhu, watching Tuda, thought so many tricks. He picked up his wine flask, a smile playing on his lips. This Lak Tuda is quite resourceful. Interesting. The third princess realized her misstep, and her face, along with the first prince's, darkened. This princess is but a woman. My words may not always be perfectly chosen. I hope the crown prince of Tian, Yao, will not misunderstand. Tuda chuckled. The princess is right. After all, there are many refined and well-bred ladies, but there's also no shortage of ignorant, rude, and uneducated ones. All boobs and no brains. She glanced pointedly at the third princess. As a magnanimous person, this crown prince can certainly offer a forgiving perspective. Isn't that right? The third princess, enraged, yelled you. She stood up and pointed at Tuda, but Feng Wuzhu threw his wine flask at the third princess's feet as a warning. Wu Luyu, startled, broke out in a cold sweat. The regent's eyes were icy. Lak Tuda's reputation and achievements. Are they for you to comment on? Tuda, surprised, looked at him. is the sun rising in the west. I can't believe that bastard is actually speaking up for me. The first prince stepped forward to defend the princesses. Tian Yao may be prosperous, but Long Zhao is no pushover. The regent's humiliation of our princess is unacceptable. Tutor retorted, wasn't it your princess who insulted this crown prince first? She closed her eyes briefly, a look of disdain on her face. Those who don't respect themselves will be looked down upon by others. If the first prince and the three princesses don't understand this principle, I wouldn't mind teaching you a lesson. The first prince and the princesses of Long Zhao gritted their teeth and spat out you. The regent tapped his fingers on the table, his face darkening. As the son of the emperor of Long Zhao, a renowned god of war, the first prince is certainly confident. Hearing this, Tuda gave Feng Wuzhu the thumbs up. Feng Wuzhu, you're so vicious. Isn't that just saying the first prince is relying on his father? Well played. He continued, Tuda is my pet. What right do the mere prince and princesses of Long Zhao have to comment on him? Tuda Froze had face darkening. She cursed inwardly. Damn it, does he mean that as his pet, he can do whatever he wants with me, but others can't? The third princess dabbed at her tears. The regent calls the crown prince's pet, but has the crown prince agreed? If not, the regent shouldn't meddle in other people's business. Tuda thought, slightly embarrassed, whether or not I'm a pet is my business. What does it have to do with you? He chuckled. The first prince glared at the third princess behind him. Lu Yu, sit down. You're being disrespectful. The third princess fumed inwardly. Crown Prince of Tianyao, just you wait. This isn't over. The regent smirked and looked at Tu to remember. Crown Prince, you are my pet. Your weakness and incompetence will damage my reputation. Tuda's face darkened. Feng Wu Zhu. She slammed her hand on the table and lunged at him. Feng Wu Zhu was slightly taken aback. Tuda pointed a finger at him. Lord Regent, if I remember correctly, you were the one who started this, weren't you? Feng Wu Zhu smiled, thinking, I want to see how long you can hold back. I was merely testing your character, but you're truly foolish. Tuda retorted, my character is not for the regent to judge. Who do you think you are? Wu Zhu's face darkened. Is that so? The regent, looking at Tuda angrily, said, don't you remember? Just then, a servant's voice echoed from outside. Prince Xianshang, Prince Feng Mingshun have arrived. The emperor's expression softened. The 12 princes, 2 incredibly handsome men, entered through the gate. The man on the left bowed. Xianshang Yifeng, offering congratulations on behalf of our kingdom. We apologize for our late arrival, Your Majesty. The man on the right chuckled. Just now, before entering the hall, I sensed a murderous aura. I wonder who has provoked the regent. The regent looked at Tuda. My pet has been too spoiled and dared to bare its claws at its master. I apologize for the spectacle, Prince Feng. Tuda's face was completely red. Inwardly, she was ecstatic. So many hotties today. Who should I pursue? The regent thought, what does Tuda mean by staring at him like that? He quickly composed himself. The envoys from various countries have presented their gifts to Your Majesty. Where's the crown prince's gift? Tuda was taken aback. I have to give a gift too. No one told me. She thought, when will Feng Wu Zhu leave me alone? Then a thought occurred to her. If I have to give a gift, then he. She walked up to the emperor, clasped her hands, and said, ahem, father, I'll give you the song Little Apple as a gift. The emperor was puzzled. Little Apple, what is that? Doesn't sound good. He forced a smile. Crown Prince, are you sure? The regent, ever the instigator, chimed in, the crown prince is offering a gift from the heart. Why would Your Majesty refuse? He received a glare from the emperor. Tuda dramatically gestured. This crown prince shall begin. The regent, anticipating the entertainment, thought, what trick are you pulling now? I'm looking forward to it. Tuda imagined herself on stage, bathed in the spotlight. She sang, I planted a seed, finally grew a tree. Today is a very important day. The regent's lips curled slightly. Though the lyrics are a bit absurd, it's somewhat entertaining. She held her fan like a microphone, giving Wu Zhu a dramatic look as she continued singing. I'll pick the stars and give them to you. I'll pluck the moon and give it to you. She walked right up to him and sang, I'll make the sun rise for you every day. Then, turning away with a cute expression, she sang, I'll become a burning candle to light your way. My life may be short, but my love for you is eternal, without words, without regret. You're my little apple. The court officials were stunned. Feng Wuzhu tapped his jade flute. This pet is much more interesting than Crow. Tuda, brimming with pride, looked at Wuzhu, inwardly gloating. How was my performance? Suddenly, the emperor slammed his hand on the table and roared, enough. Tuda jumpet, rubink hereav. What's going on? The emperor's face was dark. Pointing at her, he said, Tuda, you are the crown prince of a nation, yet you behave like this at my birthday banquet. Tuda put on a sad expression and bowed her head submissively, but inwardly, she was dejected. Just waiting for this. I haven't wanted to be crown prince for a long time. However, in the face of the emperor's anger, the regent clapped and praised. Your Majesty, I found the crown prince's song delightful. I enjoyed it very much. The emperor, inwardly annoyed, forced a smile. If the regent enjoyed it, then crown prince, you may excuse yourself. Tuda was dumbfounded, inwardly cursing the emperor's spinelessness. This emperor is truly hopeless. Such a coward. The regent walked up behind Tuda and patted her shoulder. He leaned close and whispered, Consider me saving you today, Crown Prince. How do you plan to thank me? Tuda replied, feigning annoyance. Thank you. Of course, I must thank the Lord Regent. She turned to face him. I'll pray that the Lord Regent finds his soulmate soon. She stood on tiptoe and whispered in his ear, or perhaps that you'll be tormented by your soulmate, living a life worse than death, and ultimately die alone. Wuzhu chuckled. Don't speak such ill omens, Crown Prince. If I have a soulmate, whether she wants to or not, she will be mine. Annoyed that she couldn't irritate him, Tuda turned and left. This Crown Prince is tired. I'm not playing with you anymore. As she reached the door, Feng Wuzhu asked, Where are you going, Crown Prince? He stepped closer behind her. Don't forget tonight. Her heart skipped a beat. Tonight, Feng Wuzhu, can't you wait? Tuda wiped a nosebleed. The regent smiled. I'll be waiting for you tonight. Late at night, a cool breeze blew as a lone figure stood on a tall building, enjoying the moonlit scenery. The chilly air stirred the heart. Feng Wuzhu gazed quietly at the scenery, his back straight and unyielding like a pine tree, his face cold and impassive. Footsteps echoed behind him. Without turning, he knew who it was. Another busy night. The newcomer was Xian Shang Yifeng. He smiled faintly. Lord Regent, you anticipated my arrival and have been waiting, haven't you? Feng Wuzhu replied. Hasn't Prince Feng come to offer me assurances? He chuckled softly and, crossing his arms, said, Tianyao is the Lord Regent's territory. You must know the purpose of my visit. I have absolutely no desire nor the ability to sway the Lord Regent. You can rest assured. Feng Wuzhu's eyes narrowed. I can allow Ingqin to stay in Tianyao, and I can certainly allow you to stay as well. But remember your words today, Prince Xianshang. If you dare to touch what's mine, even from afar, I will kill you. Xianshang Yifeng didn't reply, simply turning to leave. Then I won't disturb the Lord Regent's enjoyment of the scenery any longer. Yan Lai appeared and reported respectfully, My lord, as you instructed, I've been monitoring the Crown Prince's movements. A faint smile touched the corners of Feng Wuzhu's cold eyes. That cunning lack Tuda will definitely try to escape tonight. I need to see him. Meanwhile, in the brightly lit Crown Prince's residence, Tuda could be seen with a large bag slung over her shoulder, muttering, Feng Wuzhu, I'm not playing with you anymore. I'm leaving. Unbeknownst to her, the regent, standing on a tall building, had observed everything. He ordered, intercept him. The door creaked open. Tuda peeked out, looking left and right. Smiling triumphantly, she left with the bag, her face beaming. These antiques are big and heavy, but they're worth a fortune. She smirked. Being crown prince is too much trouble. I'd rather take this silver and be a carefree, wealthy commoner. But her joy was short-lived. She stared in shock at the person in front of her. Your Highness, Yan Lai said menacingly, I've been waiting for you. His lordship has given orders. He raised his voice. If the crown prince tries to escape tonight, shoot to kill. Suddenly, 2 more guards appeared, brandishing their swords. Tuda, desperate, tried to bribe them. I have a lot of money in this bag. How about we split it and you let me go? Yan Lai refused fiercely. Absolutely not. She sighed inwardly. So stubborn. Tuda quickly turned and ran. Well then, goodbye. But there was no way she could escape them. Ouch, ouch, my arm, it hurts. In the end, Tuda was apprehended by the 2 guards and dragged away. Hey, take it easy, she cried, clutching her treasure. I'm a delicate flower. Why are you ganging up on me? But she quickly resigned herself to her fate. Fine, it's not like I can't go. Besides, Lac Tu Da's eyes flicked to a hidden assassin behind them, a knife glinting in his hand. She thought, now that I have the imperial decree, who knows how many dangers are lurking. Back at the regent's residence, the moon shone brightly, illuminating the night like day. Feng Wuzhu sat comfortably with his legs crossed, looking at his newly captured prize. Lac Tu Da, never one to be intimidated, continued to provoke him. Don't you want this crown prince to repair your house? Have you prepared the bricks? Do you have mortar and cement? All the necessary tools? Have you assigned 2 handsome assistants to serve me tea and water? A guard suddenly snatched her bag. Lac Tu Da yelped, "Hey, what are you doing?" The bag spilled open, gold, silver, and jewels tumbling out. She cried out in distress, "Don't touch my bag." The regent slowly descended from above, appearing behind her. "Are these the gifts the crown prince brought?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. "There's no such thing as a free lunch." Lac Tu Da clutched her treasure and yelled, "No, these aren't gifts." Feng Wuzhu's voice was dangerous. "Not gifts." Then was the crown prince planning to run away with all this money? She stumbled back, making up an excuse. "No, I was just going to invite you on a spring outing. If we see anything we like along the way, we can buy it with all this money, right?" The regent suddenly stepped closer, his hand reaching out to grab her face and pull her towards him. "Invite me," he breathed, his fingers caressing her soft skin. He thought, so smooth. Is this what a man feels like? Something feels different. Lac Tu Da winced as he gripped her chin, tears welling up in her eyes. "Why, yes, invite you." She inwardly berated herself. Seeing a handsome face makes me weak. My fatal flaw. Feng Wuzhu released his grip and asked, "I don't care about these things. But tell me, why did you deliberately cause trouble at the banquet?" Rubbing her sore chin, she replied, "No reason. Just offering birthday gifts to father." She smirked. "Or did you want me to offer you a gift? Don't you enjoy my singing and dancing? I'll sing you a song at your birthday celebration too." Feng Wuzhu questioned, "Why don't you want the throne?" Lac Tu Da retorted defiantly, "What this crown prince thinks. Can't someone as intelligent as the regent figure it out? Father only asked me to repair residences, not receive greetings." Those around them were surprised. This crown prince is truly different. He looked at her silently. Lac Tu Da scoffed. Feng Wuzhu suddenly lifted her chin. "Lac Tu Da, I admire your courage, your arrogance, your defiance." He pulled her face closer. "I hope you can maintain this attitude in front of me for a while longer. Don't make me lose interest too soon." Then he turned and ordered Yin Lai, "Take him a bathe." Yin Lai bowed. "Yes." The regent's eyes fixed on her intently. He suddenly pulled her into his arms. "After you're clean, bring it back here." At the first prince's residence, a strong wind blew. From afar, 2 servant girls approached, carrying basins of water. Lac Tu Da, looking over, couldn't help but ask curiously, "Do you have OCD or something?" Feng Wuzhu scoffed. "I don't have OCD, but filthy, unclean people are not worthy of entering my residence." She flew into a rage. "How dare you call me filthy?" Lac Tu Da snatched a basin of water from one of the servant girls, yelling, "You may not have OCD, but I do." She splashed the entire basin of water at him. "You're so dirty. You're not worthy of appearing before me until you're clean." Yin Lai groaned inwardly. The crown prince has angered his lordship again. The regent flicked his wrist, using his internal energy to redirect the water. Tu Da stumbled back, her eyes widening as the water flew back towards her. "What? The water's attacking me." But her feet were rooted to the spot. She gritted her teeth. "Feng Wuzhu's internal energy is controlling me. I can't move. I can't lose face. I have to find a way to break free." Taking a gamble, she ripped her muscles to lean back and dodge the oncoming water. "Yes, I dodged it," but her triumph was short-lived. She grimaced in pain. The wound on her leg bled profusely. Lac Tu Da couldn't help but groan. Yin Lai was shocked. The crown prince resisted his lordship's immobilizing technique, but to avoid a basin of water, he tore his muscles. To defy his lordship, the regent looked at her coldly as she winced in pain, unable to stand properly. "Is there only defiance in your life and no strategy?" Lac Tu Da chuckled. "Of course there's strategy," she said defiantly, "but constantly enduring humiliation will only invite further abuse, won't it?" For some reason, her words amused him, and a smile touched his lips. Feng Wuzhu took her wrist and slowly channeled his internal energy into her. Lac Tu Da blushed, staring at his face, thinking in surprise, such powerful internal energy. "My wound is healed instantly." But she maintained her defiant demeanor. "I don't need your charity." Her words angered Feng Wuzhu. He released her hand and said, "What I give is not for you to refuse." Lac Tu Da knew she couldn't win against him. Clicking her tongue, tongue. She gritted her teeth and replied, "Then I can't refuse the regent's kindness." She turned and left. I'll return to the crown prince's residence to recuperate for a few days. Have someone else repair your residence. The regent didn't stop her, only saying in a low voice, "Tonight, 7 groups of assassins will be targeting you for the imperial decree. You can either deal with them or stay here and repair the wall. Decide for yourself." Lactuda was furious. That pervert Feng Wuzhu. He's actually happy that I'm being targeted. Yin Lai gestured. "Please follow me, Crown Prince." Late at night, a lone figure, the Crown Prince, was left to repair the wall. She thought, well, it's better to be alive. Repairing a wall is tiring, but fighting is also tiring. This is better. Wektuda granted, Lithingabrik. A wicked thought suddenly occurred to her. If I deliberately build this poorly, and Feng Wuzhu walks by, it'll collapse and crush him. But before she could act, a servant girl suddenly appeared behind her, startling her. Feng Wuzhu reclined on a chair, swirling a silver wine cup in his hand, his lips pressed together, his cold, emotionless eyes sweeping over her. Lactuda fumed inwardly. That bastard, taking a fragrant bath and drinking wine while watching me struggle to repair his wall. She yelled, "What's so interesting about watching someone repair a wall?" The regent chuckled, "Just making sure the crown prince isn't slacking off, being lazy, or perhaps even plotting some scheme to harm me." She flinched, thinking guiltily. He figured it out before I even did anything. Lactuda angrily turned back to the wall. "Say, Lord Regent, would you mind telling me who those 7 groups of assassins after the imperial decree are?" He slowly listed the names. "Ming Yiqing, Xianshang Yifeng, Wu Xiangyang, your father." Feng Wuzhu suddenly stood up and walked towards her, his voice dropping conspiratorially. "And it seems, the first young master of the Xiangxi sect, Yingqin." Tuda froze. Yingqin. I suspected he was the one who sent me the fake decree. Why would he also send people to kill me? She wondered, rubbing her chin. The regent stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder, his voice dangerous. "Speaking of Yingqin, why is the crown prince so interested in him? I recall the 2 of you sharing a room." She looked at him, bewildered. Lactuda snapped. "What does my business with the beautiful Yingqin have to do with you?" Feng Wuzhu's eyes narrowed. "Lactuda, there really is something between you and Yingqin. Are you conspiring with him, or are you interested in him?" She shoved him away, annoyed. "Feng Wuzhu, stop staring at me," he replied, his voice laced with a chillingly reasonable logic. "You are my pet. I must be aware of your whereabouts." He stepped closer again, his words dripping with possessiveness. "Not just Yingqin. I must know everyone and everything you come into contact with." This time, Lactuda was truly furious. "Feng Wuzhu, are you a pervert? Do you enjoy spying on people's private lives?" She pointed the trowel at him. "I bet those other 2 groups chasing me were sent by you. Why do you want me dead?" Feng Wuzhu wasn't angered by her outburst. Instead, he actually explained. One group was to create a diversion with the fake decree. While no one would dare to disrespect you, it's best that the matter of the decree in your possession remains undisclosed. The second group, well, with you gone, no one would repair the wall. I was quite troubled, so Feng Wuzhu grabbed her chin, his grip tightening. "To ensure the crown prince focuses on repairing the wall, from now on, you are forbidden from spending the night in any other man's room." Tuda fumed inwardly. My freedom is being restricted. Unwilling to be controlled, she gripped the trowel, a defiant glint in her eyes as she glared at him. "How about I repair the wall, and you at the same time?" The wind blew through the residence, causing the wind chimes to tinkle, carrying the faint scent of peach blossoms. But Lactuda paid no attention to the idyllic scene. Brandishing the trowel, she yelled, "Let me repair you." Feng Wuzhu easily caught her wrist. He smirked. Tightening his grip, he said, his voice laced with a strange mixture of praise and mockery. "Such speed. I doubt many could react like that." Lactuda didn't take it as a compliment. "You can control my wrist. Aren't you just showing off that you're much stronger than others?" He replied simply, "Indeed." Feng Wuzhu's mood shifted, his brow furrowing as he stared at her. "Lactuda, you refuse to be tamed." He suddenly grabbed her neck, pulling her towards him. The regent's face darkened, his voice dangerously low. "So, will you beg for mercy or continue to be defiant?" Lactuda giritet hertit. "I dare you to kill me now, because if I become powerful later, I'll tear you to shreds. Feng Wuzhu was taken aback by her attitude. He hadn't known Lac Tuda was this resilient. He won't even yield to a beating. Then I'll wait, he said, his grip tightening. But don't make me wait too long. He thought, this is the only way to make you submit. Lac Tuda smirked. That day won't be far off. I hope the regent won't cry out in pain when it arrives. He replied, you should know, there's no one in this world I can't subdue. Suddenly, Feng Wuzhu lowered his head and pressed his cold lips against hers. Lac Tuda's eyes widened in shock. What the? He had his reasons. Lac Tuda, let's see how defiant you are now. Yin Lai, standing at a distance, accidentally witnessed the scene. I must be hallucinating. Oh God, someone blind me. He clutched his head in horror. Should I pull the crown prince away? Or should I pretend to faint and have someone drag me away? Wait, could his lordship actually like men? If his lordship likes men, then aren't I in danger? Lac Tuda's mind was just as chaotic. Even if I like beautiful men, he can't just kiss me without my consent. Besides, I'm a man now. He's kissing a man. He's clearly trying to humiliate me. A war raged within her. The devil whispered, embrace him. Kiss him back. Dominate him. You're the top. The angel nodded in agreement. You must resist. Lac Tuda, still in the position of being kissed, resolved, you bastard. Trying to humiliate me. You're the bottom. With that thought, she pushed him away and, reversing their positions, pinned him down. I'm not someone you can easily mess with. Feng Wuzhu narrowed his eyes. You want to compete with me? He wrapped his arms around her waist, thinking, you actually want to overpower me. Wishful thinking. To onlookers, they looked like lovers embracing. But inwardly, Tuda was screaming, Feng Wuzhu, you bastard. And he was equally furious. Wake Tuda. Suddenly, a fan clattered to the ground, startling them both. They looked up. Xian Shang, Yifeng, and the others stared, jaws agape, their minds reeling. T2, two men. What are they doing? More importantly, why is the regent on the bottom? The regent's parrot recited a poem. The north wind blows, and the snow flowers fly. Caught red-handed, they awkwardly pushed each other away. Lac Tuda, without a word, jumped back several feet. Feng Wuzhu simply smiled enigmatically. Tuda, however, was wailing inwardly. Oh God, oh God, oh God. My reputation. Xian Shang, Yifeng, and the others were frantically speculating, each with their own thoughts. So that's why the crown prince kept saying strange things. He's really, wait a minute, if I ally with the crown prince later, will I have to? Sell my body too. Could someone please let me pick up my fan? Seeing their reactions, Lac Tuda realized she had been misunderstood. It's not like that. Hotties, listen to my explanation. She thought, it's not what it looks like. Feng Wuzhu, for some reason annoyed, said, and what explanation is that, crown prince? Xian Shang, Yifeng coughed. The regent said he had guests today, and I came to visit. I didn't expect. But the crown prince and the regent's private matters don't need to be explained to us. It's not like that. Lac Tuda wailed. I swear. Xian Shang, Yifeng, and the others exchanged glances, whispering amongst themselves. So, even the crown prince is a player. Tuda, mortified, wanted to disappear. Don't leave me, hotties. Feng Wuzhu, seeing Lac Tuda ogling the other men again, snapped. Crown prince, are you going to repair the wall, or continue staring at other men? His eyes narrowed dangerously. I'll gouge your eyes out. That's all for today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Life is full of surprises. Obsessed with handsome men, she stuck her hand in an electrical socket and almost met her ancestors. Luckily, they rejected her, and she was reborn as a cross-dressing crown prince. On the very first day, she chose the hottest guy to flirt with. But life isn't a bed of roses, and the man she teased turned out to be the first prince, whose name alone makes the court tremble. Lac Tuda's suffering is endless, ogling handsome men and getting threatened. Long had he finally got down to business. His Majesty requests your presence at the National Temple tomorrow. He's unwell and asks that you and the regent attend in his place. Feng Wuzhu declined. I will go. The crown prince needn't attend. Lac Tuda, repairing the wall, eavesdropped. Why not? Xian Shang, Yifeng approached. I hear the peach blossoms of the National Temple are in full bloom. May I accompany you, Lord Regent? He nodded. Very well. Feng Wuzhu smirked. The Tian Yao lay line. I know what they're after, but I don't care. Lac Tuda pretended to work diligently. The National Temple, there must be a secret there, perhaps connected to the imperial decree. I should visit Ing Qin and ask him about the decree. The image of Ing Qin, smiling seductively, flashed through her mind. Come to my room. Suddenly, she vanished. The crown prince has escaped. Yin Lai reported, panicked. Feng Wuzhu, calmly sipping his wine, nodded. He's going to see Ing Qin. These two are so strange. Yin Lai thought, shivering. Lac Tu De arrived at Xiangxi sect. Wiping the sweat from her brow, she thought, Feng Wuzhu was right. Assassins everywhere, but I have a job to do. She entered Ing Qin's room. Beautiful, I brought you a gift. Ing Qin, reclining on a chaise lounge, his robe open to reveal his toned chest, glanced at her. Lac Tu Da's heart fluttered. He's so beautiful. He toyed with a gemstone. 300 years ago, Emperor Mo personally inlaid this gemstone into Empress Zhao's crown. Ing Qin rested his head on his hand. I never thought this blazing crystal would end up in the crown prince's possession. That was the last straw. I heard you like gemstones, she said angrily. So I'm using it to buy an answer from you. Why did you give me that damned imperial decree? What grudge do you have against me? Ing Qin chuckled seductively. Feigning fairness, he said, You brought those soldiers to my doorstep tonight, Crown Prince. Consider it revenge. He frowned slightly, thinking, I caused him trouble, yet he returned unscathed. It seems this Lac Tu De is more interesting than I thought. She pressed him. Why did you use me as a guinea pig? Did I ever offend you? Ing Qin smiled, his lips curling. He poured himself some wine from a jade flask. Crown Prince, meddling in my affairs and interrupting my drinking displeases me greatly. Lac Tu De, fuming but helpless, thought he's so good at interrupting. She walked over and patted his bare shoulder, leaning in close. But I enjoy meddling in your affairs. Looking at a peculiar flower in a vase nearby, she raised an eyebrow. You have poppies by your bed. Be careful. You might get addicted. Ing Qin shrugged it off, standing up. Everything in this world that offers a taste of sweetness is addictive. He looked at her pointedly. Crown Prince, navigating the treacherous currents of the inner court. You must be more cautious of those around you. Lac Tu Da's heart skipped a beat. Could there be someone else involved with the fake decree? Ing Qin, enjoying the drama, said, You're quite clever, Crown Prince. Framing you. I was merely acting on someone else's behalf. A word of advice. The most harmless-looking people are often the most dangerous. Her eyes darted around, mentally listing the suspects. Feng Wuzhu, Long Gao Dike, Wan Shank, Yi Feng, Mink, Yi Ving, and this Ing Qin. None of them seem harmless. Ing Qin leaned back. Don't be impatient, Crown Prince. You'll find out eventually. He raised an eyebrow, clearly dismissing her. It's getting late. Pretending not to understand, Lac Tu De flopped onto the bed beside him. It's late. I'm sleeping here tonight. She had her own reasons. I'm not going out there to deal with those assassins. I'll leave in the morning. Ing Qin's face darkened. Crown Prince, he said, his tone displeased. This seems to be my bed. He stretched out on the bed, his beautiful face close to hers, a seductive smile playing on his lips. Spending the night with me is quite expensive, Crown Prince. Lac Tu De kicked him off the bed. Quickly pulling the covers over herself, she feigned anger. I don't have any money. Sleep on the floor. Inwardly, she panicked. I can't reveal that I'm a girl. That was close. I almost succumbed to his seduction. Having failed to get rid of her, lost his bed, and been kicked to the floor, Ing Qin was speechless. But where am I supposed to sleep? Time passed slowly. The vase of poppies remained undisturbed. Ing Qin, having nowhere to sleep, was now lying quietly on the bed, his steady breathing indicating a deep sleep. Lac Tu De, flustered by the sight of the sleeping beauty, tiptoed over and covered him with a blanket, thinking he looks so fierce even when he's asleep. Well, beautiful people look beautiful no matter what. Lac Tu De quietly closed the door and left, casting a lingering glance back as she said, I'll come find you again after I've dealt with the matters at the National Temple. After she left, Ing Qin, seemingly asleep on the bed, suddenly opened his eyes. He picked up the blanket, a confused look on his face. She didn't kill me while I was asleep, didn't take advantage of me either, and even covered me with a blanket. Lac Tu De, just what kind of person are you? Early morning at the National Temple, a large crowd had gathered, lined up in two neat rows. As a figure appeared, they all chanted, Welcome, Lord Regent. Welcome, Lord Regent. Feng Wuzhu didn't respond, thinking to himself, if the Tian Yao Lei line is indeed within the National Temple, I wonder who will find it. His gaze fell upon a figure diligently sweeping the courtyard in a corner. Two young monks nearby whispered, Who is that little monk? Why isn't he kneeling in welcome? He seems to have been sweeping for an hour now. Feng Wuzhu smirked and approached, feigning ignorance. This little master looks familiar. He was inwardly surprised. He infiltrated this quickly. Lac Tu De knew she'd been recognized, but kept up the pretense. Umipa, I'm afraid the benefactor is mistaken. Inwardly, she cursed. That bastard spotted me. Time to run. Sensing her intention to flee, Feng Wuzhu reached out to stop her, accidentally brushing against her chest. Wait a minute. Lactuda inwardly roared. He touched my chest. The regent frowned, a wave of confusion washing over him. Why doesn't that feel right? She whirled around and shoved at him. Bastard, who gave you permission to touch my chest? To Feng Wuzhu, her attack was child's play. He easily sidestepped it. Lactuda stumbled, falling face first onto the ground with a thud. Her hat fell off. The other monks gasped and whispered, "There's hair underneath." A fake monk, and arguing with the regent about his chest, even daring to hit the regent. Feng Wuzhu frowned. I'm not even angry yet. Why is Lactuda so agitated? Truly ungrateful. But those didn't feel like a man's chest. A strange impulse made him ask, "Crown Prince, are you sure that was your chest?" Silence descended. Lactuda lay motionless on the ground, thinking not good. My reaction was too strong. Did he discover my secret? I have to think of a way out of this. A plan formed in her mind. She burst into fake tears, sobbing dramatically. Fine, I've been eating a lot lately. Why do you keep questioning whether my chest is muscle or fat? You're so heartless. He stared at her, speechless. A grown man, crying like this in front of everyone. Just then, someone approached and reported, "My lord, there's a little eunuch at the temple gate causing a commotion, demanding to serve the crown prince." Lactuda instantly knew who it was. My little eunuch. Perfect timing. A gold star for your quick thinking. She thought triumphantly. Feng Wuzhu, let's see how you handle this. The regent was starting to get a headache. We're a troublesome pair. A monk spoke up. Lord Regent, it's almost time for the ceremony. He nodded. Very well. Turning to Tuda, he warned, you can stay at the temple, but no talking and no wandering around. You know my temper. Lactuda, continuing her act, sniffled and demanded, then you have to promise no one will find out I've gained weight. A nearby guard said, just tell everyone you have a large, powerful, and magnificent chest, all right? Feng Wuzhu sighed. This Lactuda is really pushing it. He calmly replied, Crown Prince, you're speaking so loudly. Everyone already heard you. His guards and the monks all wore exasperated expressions. The Crown Prince's chest that is fat. Seeing Feng Wuzhu leave, Tuda breathed a sigh of relief. That was close. I made it through. The regent walked alone to the altar. Red silk fluttered in the wind. Anyone standing there would show respect and reverence. But he adopted a casual stance, hands clasped behind his back. Lactuda, standing below, thought, Feng Wuzhu isn't even being respectful during the ceremony. But her attention was quickly diverted. Her eyes lit up, fixated on a group of handsome men standing beside her. She practically drooled. What a beautiful view. Feng Wuzhu, standing at the altar, ignored the ceremony, his cold eyes fixed on her ogling. His expression was cold and warning. Sneaking into the national temple, even disguising yourself as a monk just to ogle men. It seems my pet needs to be properly disciplined. Her eyes, sparkling with hearts, remained glued to the handsome men before her. But Xianshang, Yifeng, and the other handsome men completely ignored her. Feng Wuzhu, frowning, decided to give her something to do. Since the crown prince is so free, move that large cauldron over here. Yin Lai frowned worriedly. My lord, I truly don't understand you anymore. Lactuda cried out, what? Feng Wuzhu, are you joking? He smirked, clearly looking for an excuse to make trouble. The crown prince is participating in the ceremony. If you can't even help with this, you might as well leave. She frowned, realizing his intentions. Causing trouble again, Feng Wuzhu. Just you wait. If he dared to challenge her, she dared to accept. Lactuda angrily approached the enormous bronze cauldron, rolling up her sleeves and trying to move it. But her strength was insignificant. The cauldron didn't budge. The regent smirked triumphantly. General Long, throw the crown prince. A shout interrupted him. Wait. Lactuda, unwilling to give up, gritted her teeth and strained against the cauldron. And then she lifted it. She actually lifted the enormous cauldron. The others stared in astonishment. That cauldron must weigh at least 500 pounds. Even Long Geo Dyke and the monks were stunned. The crown prince moved it. The rivalry between the regent and the crown prince runs deep. Lactuda was struggling, punting Heavily. But the thought of Feng Wuzhu's challenge strengthened her resolve, and she carried the cauldron up the stairs, step by painstaking step. Reaching the top, she set the cauldron down, cracking the ground beneath it. Turning to face him defiantly, she asked, Lord Regent, are you still dissatisfied? The other two princes one calmly observing, the other utterly astonished. Both had their own thoughts. No wonder so many assassins have failed to capture him. The crown prince is hiding his true strength. Even Feng Wuzhu was impressed. Keeping the crown prince around is proving to be more entertaining than I thought. The crown prince is certainly useful, he said, but I believe the cauldron's placement could be further optimized. Lac Tuda, fuming, barely suppressed her anger. Patience. A gentleman's revenge is a dish best served cold. The ceremony finally ended. Walking beside the regent, Yin Lai whispered worriedly, "My lord, the crown prince doesn't know internal energy, yet possesses such strength. I fear there's something he's hiding." Feng Wuzhu nodded, his face darkening. So many suspicious details. He went through so much trouble to stay at the National Temple. What is he after? Unbeknownst to Feng Wuzhu, Lac Tuda was busy cursing him, moving that heavy cauldron back and forth, and now he wants me to put it back in its original position. Damn Feng Wuzhu. Her little eunuch, tears welling up in his eyes as he massaged her shoulders, said, "Your Highness, to endure such hardship for the sake of finding the ley line and remaining at the National Temple. This servant admires your grand ambition." She picked up on a key phrase, "for the sake of the ley line." The little eunuch explained, "The secret of the ley line determines the fate of the Tian Yao royal family. It's protected within the National Temple by the abbot, a highly skilled martial artist. No one has ever seen the ley line, so everyone wants to use the ceremony as an opportunity to investigate. Didn't your Highness enter the National Temple for the same reason?" Lac Tuda's eyes widened. "Oh, so that's it," she thought, "if they're here for the ley line." Looking at Feng Wuzhu's retreating figure, a new plan formed in her mind. It might be related to the imperial decree. I'll join the fun. She grinned mischievously. Which hottie should I follow tonight? Lost in thought, she was interrupted by a young monk. "Your Highness," he said, bowing respectfully, "His Excellency the Regent invites you to dine with him and the visiting princes in 10 days. Before she could respond, a scream echoed. From the rooftop, a pair of feet slipped, and a figure came crashing down. The young woman looked up at Tuda, blushing. "See, Crown Prince, I am Yin Xiao now, eldest daughter of the Minister of the Right. I had the good fortune of seeing your Highness at the banquet." Clasping her hands to her face, she gushed, her eyes full of adoration. It was love at first sight. Lac Tuda was taken aback. Love at first sight. Was it my little apple performance that captivated her? Then she thought, a sheltered young lady who's never seen a handsome, crazy man before. She must think I'm incredibly cool and charismatic. She smirked, her ego swelling. I must say, this young lady has excellent taste. It's just a shame. I'm a girl too. Only the little eunuch, observing from the sidelines, saw the truth. He rolled his eyes. Is His Highness's madness contagious? Lac Tuda patted the young woman's shoulder. Leaning in close, she said gently, "We're not compatible. It won't work out. But I know a few eligible princes." She pulled out several invitations, a mischievous grin on her face. "How about I introduce you to them?" Yin Xiao now quickly refused. No, I only like you, Crown Prince." Lac Tuda, at a loss, made up an excuse. But I like handsome men. I'm gay." She thought that would deter Yin Xiao now. Instead, the young woman's eyes lit up and she grabbed Tuda's hand, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Really? That's wonderful." She eagerly proposed, "You can use me as a cover and then be with the man you truly love. I'm willing to make sacrifices for your happiness." Wait a minute. Something wasn't right. Lac Tuda's jaw dropped. Are there Fujoshis in the ancient world too? As the two chattered away, I didn't notice Feng Wuzhu's arrival. Yin Xiao now, blushing, started gossiping. "I wonder which handsome man has caught the crown prince's eye. What about the regent?" Hearing that name gave Lac Tuda a headache. She made a disgusted face. "Feng Wuzhu. Me and Feng Wuzhu." He watched them gossiping about him, not angered but amused. Lac Tuda waved her hands dismissively. No. That bastard has a terrible personality. I'd rather spend the rest of my life with my little eunuch than be with him." The little eunuch, touched, wiped away a tear. "So, in your Highness's heart, my status is even higher than the regent's." "I'm so moved." Feng Wuzhu heard every word. He smirked coldly. Meanwhile, Lac Tuda was lost in a fantasy. The first time I saw Feng Wuzhu, she imagined pushing him down, him looking up at her shyly, and saying, "I don't need the world, I only need you. Then I'll raise my glorious red flag high." The blissful life of a dominant top. But reality was harsh. Her face fell, but in reality, recalling their first encounter, she gritted her teeth. He attacked me, created those huge craters, almost blew me to smithereens. That ruthless, inhumane. Feng Wu-Zhu had heard enough. Oh, he said, making his presence known. So the crown prince had those thoughts upon seeing me. He stepped closer, a hint of jealousy in his voice that he didn't even recognize. And now you'd rather be with a eunuch than me. Lake Tuda, startled, whirled around. I was too engrossed in my thoughts. I didn't even notice him. Yin Lai, standing nearby, was speechless at his master's reaction. My lord, you're missing the point. Shouldn't you be angry at the crown prince's disrespect? Why do you sound like you're jealous of a eunuch? Suddenly, Feng Wu-Zhu's internal energy immobilized Lac Tuda once again. Not good. I can't move. As Feng Wu-Zhu approached, she realized what he was doing. That bastard is using his internal energy to trap me again. Here we go again. He glanced at Yin Xiao now, his tone sharp. What? You want to share my pet? She clutched her skirt, trembling. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. She thought, this is terrifying. I need to get out of here. Before anyone could say anything else, Yin Xiao now fled. Only Yin Lai watched her go with sympathy, scared off by his lordship again. Poor girl. Back with the two protagonists, Feng Wu-Zhu suddenly shoved Lac Tuda to the ground. Lac Tuda, sprawled on the ground, stammered, "W, what are you doing?" Feng Wu-Zhu leaned down, lifting her chin. What am I doing? Isn't this what the crown prince wanted? He lowered his voice, whispering in her ear, I don't need the world. I only need you. He thought, Lac Tuda, you really dare to think anything. Looking at Feng Wu-Zhu's face, so close to hers, Lac Tuda's heart fluttered. He's so handsome. Then she snapped out of it. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to be the top. Why do I feel like I'm about to be ravaged? She blurted out, I want to switch positions. And you're heavy. Feng Wu-Zhu's voice dropped. Even more dangerous now. Wishful thinking. Overpowering me. With you. His handsome face suddenly moved closer, catching her off guard, and she had another nosebleed. So beautiful. Feng Wu-Zhu, snapping out of his daze, stood up abruptly, cursing. Damn it. He glared at Lac Tuda. As my pet, you should show some respect. Whether you're interested in men or not is my decision. Don't try to define me. You can't escape my control. There will be consequences. Yin Lai, listening, facepalmed. Is his lordship announcing his relationship with the crown prince to the entire world? Freed from his control, Lac Tuda sat up, clicking her tongue. That pervert Feng Wu-Zhu. So he is a woman, but wants to be with you. The regent turned to leave, then added, a smirk playing on his lips. Though you lack a proper chest, the softness is quite pleasant. Lac Tuda bristled. That bastard. Night fell, the full moon casting a silvery glow over the land. Lac Tuda moved stealthily through the darkness, but she couldn't escape Feng Wu-Zhu's watchful eye. The crown prince is following Xian Shang Yifeng, Yin Lai reported. He's probably looking for the ley line. His motives for approaching you are still unclear, my lord. Let him come, Feng Wu-Zhu said coldly. I want to see what he's capable of. He jumped out the window, following silently. Lac Tuda, watching Xian Shang Yifeng closely, thought, he seems the most likely to find the ley line. I have to stay close. Suddenly, arms wrapped around her from behind. Don't rush, a familiar voice whispered. Xiaobai. She blushed, realizing his hand was on her butt. That pervert. Hands off, she snapped, slapping his hand away. Pervert Feng Wu-Zhu. He frowned, irritated. She gets angry every time she sees me. She glared at him, fuming. I want to slap him. If you want to find the ley line, then find it. Stop following me. Sensing her deliberate avoidance, Feng Wu-Zhu's anger flared. You're my pet. You have no right to question me. She crossed her arms, annoyed. Even a pet has rights. You can't just grope me. His expression softened, his voice a husky whisper. You're mine. What's wrong with touching you? Unless you don't want me to. She blushed, flustered by his closeness and his words. He smirked. Hurry up, or you'll lose him. Changing the subject again, she quickly caught up to Xian Shang Yifeng. Passing him, she grinned. I'm not that easy to bully. She brushed her hand against Feng Wu-Zhu's chest as she walked past. So firm. The regent, quick as a flash, grabbed her robe before she could escape. Lac Tuda. She turned, feigning innocence, and parroting his own words back at him. We're both men. What's wrong with a little touch? Then, feigning panic, she yelled, Xian Shang Yifeng is getting away. After him. Having successfully groped him and escaped unscathed, she thought triumphantly. So firm. Finally got him back. Feng Wuzhu watched her go, his mind in turmoil. Why don't I dislike that? The national temple was quiet at night, the soft glow of lanterns illuminating the path, the scent of incense lingering in the air. Laktuda and Feng Wuzhu followed Xianshang Yifeng to a secluded cave. Sneaking around in the middle of the night, she thought, hiding behind a rock, looking for the ley line. So he's a sneaky bastard. Xianshang Yifeng called out, "Come out." A figure emerged from the shadows. The abbot. The ley line is important to the Tianyao royal family, but it's not what you seek. If you insist on taking it, the abbot said, his hands clasped calmly, you'll have to fight me. Laktuda, eavesdropping, gasped. So, the ley line is important. The abbot isn't even bringing backup. He must be incredibly strong. Feng Wuzhu, suddenly appearing beside her, his hands on her shoulders, said, the abbot's martial arts skills are unmatched. He alone is enough to protect the ley line. She scoffed. That's why you're hiding behind me? Afraid of losing? Yinlai, listening nearby, sighed. His lordship defeated the abbot when he was 21. He's only here because of the crown prince. Xianshang Yifeng, fanning himself, said, it's an honor to meet you, abbot. A sinister smile spread across his face. If I defeat you, the ley line is mine. The abbot suddenly coughed, clutching his chest. Blood trickled down his chin. Xianshang Yifeng watched him, a cruel smile on his face. How long can you last? Everything happened so fast. Laktuda barely saw what happened. He collapsed before they even fought. Wait, he was poisoned. How did Xianshang Yifeng poison him? Suddenly, monks rushed out, kneeling before Xianshang Yifeng. The abbot coughed up more blood. You, all of you, he gasped, his voice filled with pain and betrayal. Qing Yuan, you betrayed me. Qing Yuan bowed his head. Forgive me, master. I had no choice. Xianshang Yifeng watched the crocodile tears with a cold smile. Perhaps this method isn't the most honorable, but Master Ding Yuan's martial arts skills are too formidable. I didn't want to fight a battle I wasn't sure of winning. I beg your forgiveness, master. The abbot, leaning heavily against a lamp, coughed up blood. Prince Feng, he said weakly, with such methods, I fear the world will soon be engulfed in a storm of bloodshed. Xianshang Yifeng scoffed, ignoring the abbot's words. He entered the cave, leaving behind a sarcastic remark. Thank you for the compliment, master. Laktuda, arms crossed, observed everything and turned to the man behind her. Xianshang Yifeng brought so many people. Did you know? Feng Wuzhu raised an eyebrow, answering her question with another. What do you think? There's no way the regent would be unaware of something this big, she replied, knowing he was right. But still frustrated, she pointed at the poisoned abbot. And you're just going to leave him like this? This matter isn't worth my attention, he said coldly. Laktuda scoffed then. Look back at the scene, her heart aching. Being betrayed by the one you trust most is more painful than being poisoned. She cursed Feng Wuzhu under her breath. You cold-blooded bastard, leaving him to die. The regent suddenly grabbed her wrist, pulling her along. What are you doing? She exclaimed, caught off guard. Feng Wuzhu looked back at her, a cryptic smile on his face. Something good, of course. Seeing the abbot sitting motionless against the lamp, Laktuda and Feng Wuzhu approached. She reached out, but he caught her wrist. Feng Wuzhu, what are you doing? He shoved her forward, sending her sprawling. Get up, sit still. Sitting cross-legged, she fumed. He even sealed my pressure points. Does he think I'm a toy for him to play with? Looking at the abbot, he said, Master, your cultivation is profound. Could you perhaps open the 2 meridians for someone who doesn't know martial arts? He stared intently at the abbot, his brow furrowed. If the ley line can't be protected, consider it compensation for Tianyao. The abbot, sweating profusely, opened his eyes with great effort. The regent wants me to transfer my internal energy to the crown prince of Tianyao. He asked weakly, then chuckled. Very well. I only hope that after receiving my internal energy, you will prioritize the well-being of the people of Tianyao. Laktuda was stunned. Did that bastard Feng Wuzhu finally see the light? He's not making things difficult for me, and he's even giving me something good. This is unbelievable. Suddenly, the abbot began transferring his internal energy. Feng Wuzhu watched closely. Laktuda coughed up blood, her meridians breaking and reforming, power surging through her. But I'm not strong enough to control this power. She knew she was in trouble. This is bad. Seeing her collapse, Feng Wuzhu reached out, transferring some of his own energy to stabilize hers. Laktuda looked up at him, confused. Why are you helping me? He replied coldly. Didn't you say you would tear me to shreds once you were strong enough. I'm helping you to see if you're capable. That lunatic, she thought, then suddenly realized something was wrong. The abbot's body was surrounded by a formless energy. Master Ding Yuan, she cried, reaching out with trembling hands to check his pulse. Sensing no breath, she angrily yelled at Feng Wuzhu. He still had a sliver of life left. Why didn't you save him? Feng Wuzhu slowly stood up, looking down at her coldly. Having lost the ley line, did he still have the face to live? Lac Tuda stood up and walked towards him. Even though his internal energy was precious, she argued, frowning, you shouldn't have bullied him on his deathbed, forcing him to transfer his energy to me. His internal energy was useless to him anymore, she said angrily. Why not give it to someone who could use it? Feng Wuzhu was taken aback. Lac Tuda, you ungrateful wretch. She turned and knelt before the abbot, bowing her head sincerely. Tears streamed down her face. A teacher for a day, a father for a lifetime. Seeing her gratitude, Feng Wuzhu saw her in a new light. She may seem crazy, but she has a kind heart. His eyes narrowed. Xianshang Yifeng must have found the ley line by now. Looking toward the cave, he grabbed Lac Tuda. Come on, let's go inside. She protested, fine, but don't drag me. They hid behind a nearby pillar. Xianshang Yifeng stood before a stone table, the wind carrying a strange sound. He picked up a piece of paper, a sinister smile spreading across his face. As I suspected, he used his internal energy to destroy the paper. Lac Tuda gasped. What the hell? Her mind reeled. He burned something. She whispered, what did he burn? Was that the ley line? Suddenly, footsteps approached. Feng Wuzhu quickly covered her mouth. Lac Tuda ist ausweidend. His eyes darkened as he glanced back. This is getting lively. It was Long Gao Dike. He walked towards Xianshang Yifeng, his face dark, his voice accusing. Coming to the Tian Yao National Temple, committing murder, killing Abbot Ding Kong, and stealing the ley line. How does the Xianshang royal family plan to explain this? Xianshang Yifeng, unfazed, replied calmly, Master Ding Kong was poisoned by someone within the temple. It has nothing to do with me. As for the ley line, I merely chased an assassin in here, believing he had stolen it. If General Long doesn't believe me, you can search me. Ming Yiqing suddenly lunged forward, his sword flashing. Hand over the ley line. Xianshang Yifeng dodged, unleashing his internal energy. If you have the skill, then come and take it. Long Gao Dike, enraged, raised his spear. I will capture you for Tian Yao. He joined the fight. Xianshang Yifeng sneered. Then let's see who makes it out of here alive. Who has the ley line? Watching the three handsome men battling it out, Lac Tuda's eyes shone with excitement. A love triangle brawl. She imagined Ming Yiqing glaring at Xianshang Yifeng. You slut, sneaking around behind my back. Long Gao Dike, protective of his lover, yelled, leave him alone. If you have a problem, take it up with me. But Xianshang Yifeng delivered a devastating blow. This is between us. You're just making things complicated. Get lost. Unable to contain her excitement, she giggled, tears streaming down her face, slapping Feng Wuzhu's thigh repeatedly. Feng Wuzhu frowned at her, disgusted. So excited and vulgar. I truly don't understand what she finds so amusing. Then he realized something. Why is Lac Tuda slapping my thigh? Tuda continued to giggle, enjoying the brawl. The sounds of fighting echoed. Suddenly sensing something approaching, he became alert. Not good. Feng Wuzhu grabbed her hand. He pulled her close, his arm around her shoulders, and deflected the incoming projectile with a burst of energy. Lac Tuda, startled, turned to him. Damn, no cover. The three fighters stopped, staring at them. The regent and the crown prince, holding hands, embracing. Blushing furiously, he quickly pushed her away. Lac Tuda grumbled, Hey, Feng Wuzhu, are you that disgusted by me? The three men strode towards them. Xianshang Yifeng's voice dripped with sarcasm. Fancy meeting the Lord Regent here. Feng Wuzhu frowned. I was merely taking a stroll, enjoying the commotion. He realized something was amiss. Since when am I so nosy? A soldier rushed in. General, the monks claim they poisoned Abbot Ding Kong, stole the ley line, and then committed suicide. Lac Tuda gasped. Suicide. Her eyes narrowed. Xianshang Yifeng is ruthless. This era is more complicated and dangerous than I thought. He looked at her, thinking this crown prince. I can't let him go. He observed her closely, a sinister thought forming in his mind. He might be useful to me. I'll test his strength when the opportunity arises. Lajtuda Sigit Kidenchink had feasts. If only these handsome men were all good people. Xian Shang Yifeng suddenly spoke to her. I hear the tree of fate at the National Temple, left of the peak, right of the Azure River, surrounded by flowers and herbs, is quite a sight. Would the Crown Prince care to join me for a viewing? The invitation was barely out of his mouth before she eagerly accepted. A hottie invited me to see the tree of fate. He blinked, confused. The tree of fate. Did he misunderstand my intentions? Feng Wu Zhu suddenly interrupted. Hold on. I don't agree. Wan Shank, Yifeng Sikofut. I'm merely inviting the Crown Prince for a stroll. Why would the Lord Regent object? Lak Tuda, siding with Xian Shang Yifeng, turned on Feng Wu Zhu. Yeah, what's it to you? Why do you care? Even Yen Lai noticed something was off. With his lordship's personality, he should be teaching Xian Shang Yifeng a lesson. Why does he seem nervous? Feng Wu Zhu turned abruptly and stalked off. If Prince Feng shows any disrespect to my pet, I will not forgive you. He stopped and glared at Xian Shang Yifeng. Xian Shang Yifeng placed a hand over his heart. I wouldn't dare. As Feng Wu Zhu left, Lak Tu pulled out her fan. Opening it gracefully, she thought he agreed. Feng Wu Zhu just left like that. How strange. Looking at Xian Shang Yifeng, she said, "See you tomorrow, hottie." She was curious. I wonder what that foxy man is up to. The night was quiet, a cold wind blowing. Under the bright moon, red lanterns flickered. Lak Tuda entered a room, catching a faint, familiar scent. Poppies. Ingqin was here. She lay back on the bed, hands behind her head. I'll listen closely. Maybe he hasn't gone far. She strained her ears, listening for any sound. Outside, the trees rustled in the wind. Ingqin, dressed in crimson, perched on a branch. Let's go, he said, a strangely seductive smile playing on his lips. Qin Cheng, thinking of their mission, asked, just like that, young master. We still haven't determined who has the ley line. Ingqin landed, his voice low. Judging by their reactions, the ley line must be in Xian Shang Yifeng's possession. Pulling his cloak around him, he continued, Are we really not returning, young master? They were all involved in that fight. It's too dangerous. Under the dark sky, the trees rustled in the wind. Ingqin, dressed in crimson, stood with his back to his homeland. He closed his eyes, the usual gentleness replaced by a deep sadness. I don't ever want to set foot there again. Lak Tuda, overhearing him, felt a pang of sympathy. What happened to him? What's he hiding behind that seductive facade? Everyone has secrets. Her thoughts returned to Feng Wu Zhu. That infuriating man, so arrogant. Feng Wu Zhu sneezed, his face impassive as he sat in his chambers. The peach blossoms at the National Temple are beautiful this year. He slammed his hand down. We'll visit the peach forest tomorrow, he said, his voice flat. Yen Lai sighed. Does he want to see the blossoms or the crown prince? The next morning, Lak Tuda skipped towards the peach forest, her little eunuch trailing behind her. Your Highness, even for a date, this is too early. Prince Feng might not even be here yet. Red ribbons fluttered from the tree of fate. Lak Tuda, her cheeks flushed, her eyes shining, said, You don't understand. For a date with a hottie, you have to arrive early and scout the location. Then, I'll accidentally fall into his arms, and maybe cop a feel. The little eunuch rolled his eyes. Is she interested in Prince Feng now? A group of monks rushed towards them, their faces grim. Abbot Ding Kong died because of Xian Shang Yifeng. We'll avenge him. He'll be at the Tree of Fate today. This is our chance. But we don't know what he looks like, one whispered. I heard he wears white and carries a fan. They reached the Tree of Fate, approaching Lak Tuda from behind. She turned around, startled. White clothes, a fan, that's me. Xian Shang Yifeng, that bastard. He set me up. So much for a romantic date. She quickly hid her fan. Wait, I'm a crown prince of Tianyao. You got the wrong person. Lies. One of the monks yelled, raising his staff. Avenge Abbot Ding Kong. You're serious? She exclaimed, dodging the attack. Feng Wu Zhu, watching from afar, felt a flicker of worry. Those monks are skilled. Can Lak Tuda handle them? They attacked relentlessly. Don't blame me for this, she yelled, grabbing a staff. Her eyes narrowed. She attacked, sending one monk flying. Get her, they yelled, charging towards her. Bam, bam, bam. Lak Tuda countered her strikes. 79, 88, 91. Finally, panting, she stopped. Feng Wu Zhu frowned. surprised. This Lactuda, always exceeding expectations. Every hit lands perfectly. This can't be a coincidence. Yin Lai was equally impressed. The Crown Prince not only possesses incredible strength, but also hidden martial arts skills. Xian Shang Yifeng approached, offering a seemingly casual compliment. The Crown Prince is truly impressive. So many opponents, yet none were a match for you. He was scheming, taking on 100 men at once and incapacitating them with precise, non-lethal blows. This Tian Yao Crown Prince is a force to be reckoned with. An ally, not an enemy. Lake Tudasmukt. Of course, this Crown Prince merely stood here, and they all flocked to me, captivated by my beauty. Then, through gritted teeth, she muttered, "Damn you, Xin Shang Yifeng. Bring it on." She suddenly lashed out with a kick. He barely managed to dodge. Her legs swept past him, catching him completely off guard, leaving a mark on his pristine white robes. Brushing off his robes, he said calmly, "My robes are now soiled. I trust the Crown Prince's anger has subsided." Tuda fanned herself, raising an eyebrow. "And you think I should just forgive you, and we can be friends again?" Seizing the opportunity, Xian Shang Yifeng suggested, "Perhaps not friends, but allies." Lactuda closed her fan, crossing her arms. "I'm not interested in alliances. I only care about my own survival." He smiled, walking past her, his words a subtle challenge. "If the Crown Prince truly only cares about self-preservation, then I admire your pragmatism. But in these chaotic times, a member of the royal family, can you truly afford to be so detached? Sometimes, fighting for survival is more effective than simply avoiding danger." With that, he turned to leave, adding, "When you've reconsidered, you can find me anytime." In the ensuing silence, Feng Wuzhu waited as Yin Lai delivered a message to Lactuda. The Rome Kingdom is preparing to attack. His lordship plans to lead the troops personally and invites you to join him. Lactuda exploded. Feng Wuzhu likes fighting, so he should go himself. Why drag me into it? She frowned. So many annoying people this early in the morning. Feng Wuzhu leaned closer, lowering his voice. With the Crown Prince's beauty, wouldn't it be easy to win hearts and minds? Unable to contain her frustration, Lactuda yelled and threw a punch. He caught her fist easily. "Still unable to land a blow on me," he said, his voice laced with annoyance. "If you truly wanted to find me, then get stronger. The weak have no right to refuse." Lactuda yanked her hand back. "Let go." Pointing a finger at him, she warned, "I didn't want to get involved in this mess, but you're forcing my hand." She stepped back, her voice still laced with anger. "If you want to be lonely at the top, then fine. I'll join you. We'll see who ends up stepping on whom." She turned sharply, flexing her wrist. "Just you wait. In a few years, we'll see who's on top." Feng Wuzhu watched her go, pondering her words. "I'll be waiting." Yin Lai, worried, said, "My lord, it seems the Crown Prince is angry." Feng Wuzhu looked at him calmly. First tricked by Prince Feng, then provoked by me, of course he's angry. He knows he can't escape, yet still tries to avoid the inevitable. I need to remind him. Back at his residence, Feng Wuzhu dismissed Yin Lai. Walking away, he frowned, thinking, so arrogant and defiant. This pet doesn't disappoint. He knows he's in my grasp, yet his angry words, why do they bother me? Night fell, the full moon illuminating the sky. A light still shone in Lactuda's room. Books on internal energy scattered across the table. Lactuda propped her head on her hand, thinking, if I can awaken the abbot's internal energy within me, my strength will increase significantly. Just then, her little eunuch entered with tea. He stared at her in surprise. Your Highness, Lactuda didn't hide it. Try to learn how to defeat that bastard Feng Wuzhu. Suddenly, a knock echoed from the door. Tuda jumped, startled. Damn, did they hear me? It was the Emperor's men. We are here on His Majesty's orders, one said, to search the National Temple for the ley line. We asked for the Crown Prince's cooperation. A mischievous glint appeared in Tuda's eyes. A chance to cause trouble for Feng Wuzhu. She let them in and began her scheme. Now that you mention it, she said, feigning a thoughtful expression, I think I saw a shadowy figure sneaking around last night, heading toward the regent's residence. She suddenly slammed her fist into her hand. What if? The guards bowed. We understand. Thank you, Your Highness. After they left, Lactuda collapsed onto the floor, laughing. We understand. Her little eunuch looked at her, puzzled. Why does Your Highness always court death? He wailed. If the regent finds out you're lying, remember, all our valuables are still at his residence. Tuda froze, a look of panic crossing her face. I forgot about that. Under the dark, windy sky at the National Temple, Lactuda ran, panting and regretting her actions. Revenge is sweet, but short-lived. Suddenly, a figure darted past, making her freeze. She turned. A man in black. Is he going to the regent's residence? I'll follow him. Hiding behind a stone statue, she saw two figures whispering. Her jaw dropped. It's him. The person talking to the man in black was Ming Yiqing. In the quiet night, their voices were low. The first young master, Ying Qin, of the Xiangxi sect, does bear some resemblance to our Emperor Feng Ming, the man in black reported. But Ying Qin has been in Tianyao for 3 years, while His Majesty has never left Feng Ming. He hesitated. Therefore, I haven't been able to confirm Ying Qin's true identity. Ming Yiqing, frustrated by the lack of progress, ordered continue investigating. Prince Feng and General Long are also looking into him, and he has unclear connections to our Feng Ming kingdom. His eyes narrowed. This man is definitely not simple. Lac Tuda, overhearing their conversation, was stunned. They're investigating Ying Qin? Could he be Feng Ming royalty? I knew he was hiding something, but I didn't think it was this big. Ming Yicheng glared at the man in black. You have 3 days. Find out who he is or eliminate him. He looked at his hands, a calculating glint in his eyes. Emperor Ming Yishao has lost the people's support. Feng Ming will be mine. Lac Tudo walked away, deep in thought. Ying Qin is in trouble. Should I save him? She chewed on a blade of grass, her brow furrowed. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the night. What was that? She looked towards the sound, her eyes widening. He blew up my room. Where's he going to sleep now? She saw a guard kneeling before Feng Wuzhu, his head bowed. Please calm down, your lordship. Who gave you permission to search my chambers? Feng Wuzhu roared, kicking the guard. It was the crown prince. He said he saw a man in black. Oh no, if he finds out I lied, he'll kill me. He'll flatten me like a pancake. Or worse, grind me into meat paste. Feng Wuzhu thought, only Lac Tuda would dare defy me like this. Yanlai asked, what should we do with the crown prince, my lord? Don't, a voice suddenly called out. What are they going to do to me? Demolish my residence? Flatten me into a pancake? Throw my valuables into the river? I have to get my money back. She rushed towards Feng Wuzhu, forcing a smile. Little master, it's a misunderstanding. I said I saw a man in black talking to Ming Yicheng. They must have misheard me. Little master? He raised an eyebrow. So it's little villain and little master now? He pulled her closer, lifting her chin. So observant, crown prince. Even noticing a man in black entering my chambers. She blushed, forcing a smile. Then why don't you stay here and help catch him? If it weren't for my money, I wouldn't be doing this. Feng Wuzhu smirked. Lac Tuda, you're awakening my possessive side. Controlling you is becoming quite entertaining. Another explosion rocked the night. My room, she exclaimed. Put out the fire. Save everyone, voices yelled. A monk rushed past, carrying a bucket of water. Did you see my little eunuch? She asked, grabbing his robe. He's about this tall, quite handsome. The monk stared at her. Your Highness, you're all right. Your room, it exploded. No one could have survived. She released the monk's robe, her mind reeling. If I had been in my room, I would have been blown to bits. Why would anyone want to kill me? Lac Tuda and Feng Wuzhu watched in silence as the flames consumed her residence. Tears streamed down her face. So much trouble since I arrived here. Only my little eunuch treated me with kindness, and now he's trapped in that inferno. Without hesitation, she rushed into the flames, yelling, little eunuch. The monks and soldiers outside cried out in alarm. The crown prince. He's gone into the fire. Feng Wuzhu's eyes narrowed. Lac Tuda, he followed her into the blaze. The fire raged. The room filled with smoke and collapsing debris. Lac Tuda pushed toward the center, yelling, little eunuch. Little eunuch. She found him unconscious, trapped beneath a heavy beam. Little eunuch, she cried, quickly lifting the beam. Don't worry, I'll get you out. Just then, a burning pillar began to fall. Just a little longer. I'll save you. She turned, her eyes widening in horror. Panicked, she instinctively raised her arms to shield herself. Suddenly, a strong hand stopped the falling pillar. Are you all right? A voice asked. She stared, stunned. Feng Wuzhu, what are you doing here? Did he come to save me? Feng Wuzhu pulled her close. Don't be afraid. Scooping her up, he unleashed a wave of green energy that blasted a hole in the roof. Let's go. Carrying both her and the little eunuch, he flew out of the inferno, their eyes locked. As they landed, the guards yelled, look, the crown prince. They're out. A monk shouted, someone's injured. Help. 2 guards rushed forward. Your Highness. They helped carry the little eunuch away. Quickly, get him to a physician. Lactuda stood there, heartbroken, muttering, "Damn it, it's happening again." Images of her parents, engulfed in flames, flashed through her mind. "Run, run, you have to live." Tears streamed silently down her face. Never again. Her eyes hardened with resolve. From now on, if anyone wants me dead, they'll have to pay with their life. Feng Wuzhu watched her, concerned. What happened to cause such a reaction? It wasn't just about the eunuch. There was regret and pain. She suddenly turned to him, her expression confused. "Feng Wuzhu, he saved me." He quickly looked away, his face unreadable. "Why does my heart ache for this man? Lactuda, he's just a pet. Is it just because he amuses me?" He suddenly doubled over in pain. "The poison. I used too much internal energy." Seeing Feng Wuzhu walk away, she called out, "Feng Wuzhu, he's leaving. Did I do something?" She thought, "I'll check on him later. He did save me, after all." Reaching a secluded spot, Feng Wuzhu coughed up blood. "Good thing he didn't see that. Lactuda, before, I only wanted to control you. Now, I want to protect you." At Feng Wuzhu's heavily guarded residence, Lactuda was stopped at the entrance. "Crown Prince, please wait. His lordship is resting. If you have business with him, please return tomorrow." She huffed. "Go announce my arrival. I must see him tonight. If it weren't for the fact that he saved me, I wouldn't be bothering with this," she thought, irritated. After changing into a new robe, she entered. This whole bathe and change before meeting rule. His obsession with cleanliness is a disease. "These are his lordship's robes," Yen Lai's voice echoed. Lactuda blushed. "This feels like wearing my boyfriend's clothes in his house." She found Feng Wuzhu sitting regally. "What brings the crown prince here?" he asked, his eyes scrutinizing her. She sighed inwardly. "Here we go again with the arrogance. I came to thank you." And Feng Wuzhu scoffed. Suddenly, a wave of pain washed over him, and he clutched his chest, trembling. Suppressing the pain, he said, "If you've thanked me, then you may leave." Sensing something was wrong, Lactuda asked, "Feng Wuzhu, were you injured saving me?" He slowly descended the steps, approaching her. "If the crown prince cares so much," he said, fighting back the pain, "then what will you do?" Lactuda, flustered, said, "I was just asking to see if there's anything I can do to help." As Feng Wuzhu continued to approach, he felt the pain receding. A thought struck him. The pain, it's fading. Could it be? He leaned closer. "Want to know who's after you?" he asked, thinking, can he really suppress my poison? Lactuda replied seriously, "I don't know for sure yet, but I have a few leads. There are many who want me dead, but not many who can actually stop me or my men from retaliating, right?" Her answer intrigued him. He gently touched her lips. "Lactuda," he murmured, "I find myself liking you more and more." He leaned in and gently kissed her. Then, pulling her into his arms, he deepened the kiss, his hand braced against the wall behind her. His eyes fluttered closed, his mind a whirl of confusing sensations. Kissing a man is surprisingly enjoyable. Lactuda quickly regained her composure. "Hey, who said you could kiss me?" Staring at his smiling face, she felt a strange surge of annoyance. "I'm disguised as a man. We're both men." And he, blushing, she scolded, "Lord Regent, is this how you express your affection?" Feng Wuzhu smirked. "Only with you." Suddenly, Lactuda felt herself being lifted into the air. He carried her, his voice playful. "Tonight, I'm claiming you." Feeling the chill within him recede with their close contact, he realized, it's true, being close to him suppresses the poison. Lactuda struggled, alarmed. "Feng Wuzhu, W, what are you doing?" He tossed her onto the bed. Slowly removing his clothes, he said, his voice husky, "Claiming you, of course." She scrambled to cover herself, yelling, "Stay away from me. I'm a normal man." Inwardly, she panicked. "I'm not a normal man. What if he finds out?" The regent shrugged off his robe. He leaned over her, whispering in her ear, "Didn't the crown prince claim to be interested in men?" Lactuda blushed, a strange thrill running through her. She quickly shook her head, snapping herself back to reality. "What am I thinking? Now's not the time for this." She stammered, "Why, yes. I did think I was interested in men, but I realized when it came down to it, I just couldn't." She mentally patted herself on the back. Perfect excuse. He'll think I mistook myself for being gay, and then at the crucial moment, realized I actually like men. Feng Wuzhu nodded, seemingly convinced. "Indeed, we are both men. While I admire the crown prince's spirit," he began, then suddenly froze, a spasm of pain racking his body. The poison. But this is convenient. Without a second thought, he closed his eyes and kissed her. Lack two, duh. Being kissed against her will for the second time that day inwardly cursed him. That bastard. Feeling the pain subside, Feng Wuzhu pulled away, his mind racing. Why does being close to him make the poison disappear? Her eyes flashed. You better let me go, she threatened, or you'll regret this. He tilted her chin up. Lack two, duh. He murmured, I love this defiant look in your eyes. My love and my desires are both quite intense. He smirked, his voice a low threat. So, anything that belongs to you, if I can't have it, I'll destroy it. Remember that. She shoved him away angrily. Destroy. Let's see if you have the ability. Feng Wuzhu, let me tell you something. Some things in this world can be destroyed, can be ended like a life. But some things you can never break. Like a person's pride. I would rather die than submit. The regent stared at her, something stirring within him. Lactuda, you truly are fascinating. Seeing him distracted, she seized the opportunity. Now's my chance. She quickly sat up, and in her haste, her knees slammed into his groin. Hearing a sickening thud, she thought, oops, that probably wasn't good. Feng Wuzhu gasped silently, cold sweat dripping down his face. Realizing her mistake, she waved her hands apologetically. Sorry about that. Lord Regent, she said, trying to negotiate. How about you let me go? I promise I'll repay your kindness later, I swear. Feng Wuzhu shook his head, pulling her close. I said I'm claiming you tonight, but if that's too much for the crown prince to handle, then I'll compromise. We'll just cuddle. No touching. Having decided, he reached for her clothes. Now, let's get undressed and go to sleep. Lactuda quickly turned away. No interesting. She panicked. If I undress, he'll find out. Moonlight streamed through the window. Holding Lactuda in his arms, the regent suddenly started talking about court politics. The Ministry of Rights, the Ministry of Works, and the Ministry of Revenue have all been infiltrated by various factions. She glanced at him, confused. What is he doing? He continued, currently, amidst all the chaos and power struggles, only the Ministry of Justice remains neutral. Lactuda wasn't stupid. She understood what he was implying. He's telling me if I want to make a move, I should start with the Ministry of Justice. Still, she was hesitant. Why are you helping me? Feng Wuzhu sat up, propping his chin on his hand. I'm helping my pet. What's wrong with that? I will protect you. No one else in this world has the right to humiliate you. Lactuda, consider this a promise. Lactuda blushed, feigning annoyance. Could you leave out the no one else part? I don't think you have the right to humiliate me either. He didn't reply, only pulled her closer, his hand accidentally brushing against her chest. She blushed. Hey, Feng Wuzhu looked at her, surprised. Your chest, it doesn't feel like mine. Lactuda's face turned crimson. You. She pushed him away. Get off. Stop touching. It's just fat. What's the difference? Feng Wuzhu chuckled. Fat, huh? Pulling her robe closed, she said, feigning composure. Do you think I'm a woman? Have you ever seen a woman with a chest this flat? Please, heavens, let her believe me. If I can fool him this time, I'll be safe. The regent scratched his cheek, seemingly convinced. Actually, I haven't. He pulled her close again, teasing. You're so slender, yet you have quite a bit of fat, don't you? His hand wandered again, and it feels rather nice. Lactuda swatted his hand away. Get off. If you touch me again, I'll... She trailed off, cursing him inwardly. The regent, acting like a lecherous pervert. Feng Wuzhu, tiring of the game, pulled her close and mumbled, stop fidgeting. Be a good boy and let's sleep. Looking at his sleeping face, she muttered, calling me fidgety, you pervert. I'll have to repay him eventually, she thought, her eyelids growing heavy. Unbeknownst to her, she drifted off to sleep in the regent's arms. The next morning, the first rays of sunlight illuminated a blooming red flower. Lactuda woke up, sitting up and staring at the man beside her. Holy crap, I actually slept with him all night. Seeing Feng Wuzhu sleeping peacefully, she sighed. This isn't good. I need to get out of here. Then a mischievous grin spread across her face. But it would be a waste to leave just like that. He's asleep. Feng Wuzhu, however, was already awake, feigning sleep to see what she would do. What is Lactuda planning? Lactuda grinned wickedly, reaching out with both hands. You touched me so much last night, now it's my turn. He tensed. What is she doing? She started groping his chest, enjoying the feel of his firm muscles beneath her fingers. She thought, his chest is really firm. Even pretending to be asleep, Feng Wuzhu couldn't help but feel a strange warmth spread through him at being touched by another man. Why am I feeling hot? Her hand moved lower. Let's see, what did I say last night? A little bird on a chopping block. Like a pervert about to commit indecent assault, she continued her exploration. You touched my chest, so She snatched the little bird, crowing triumphantly, "Gotcha." Little birdie, having gotten her revenge, left the room, feeling quite pleased with herself. Feng Wuzhu suddenly opened his eyes, sitting up with a confused expression. I felt something for a man, but the regent was decisive. His eyes narrowed, a shadow passing over them. Lactuda, you started this fire. I will return the favor. Back at the Crown Prince's residence, Lactuda was greeted by a pretty servant girl. This servant, Lu Ni, greets your highness. His majesty, knowing your highness was frightened last night, sent me to attend to you, she explained. Tuda wasn't particularly concerned with who came and went, but rules were rules. While you are here, she said, her eyes half closed, you'll follow my rules. Think carefully about what you say. Opening her eyes, she added with a sharp, threatening look, otherwise I'll cut out your tongue. Lu Ni, terrified, quickly replied, rest assured, your highness. This servant understands. Tuda sat down, listening to the reports. His Majesty wishes for your highness to return to the capital soon. Princess Wuyu of Dituo is about to be married, and His Majesty fears upsetting the regent, so he asks that you avoid provoking him. Lake Tuda frowned. Dituo, the princess. What do they have to do with Feng Wuzhu? Lu Ni got pet? You don't know. She thought nervously. He even dares to call the regent by his name. Tuda said impatiently, I only care about interesting things. Is this interesting? Get to the point. Lu Ni quickly replied, 7 years ago. She began to explain. The emperor of Dituo promised Princess Wu Yu to the regent, but the regent rejected her outright. The princess, heartbroken, attempted suicide. She survived, but her voice trembled slightly, as if afraid of Feng Wuzhu's unpredictable temper. Her face was scarred. She was later married to another man, but the regent killed him. Lu Ni paused, then continued, no one knows why the regent killed him. No one dares to speculate. After that, there were many rumors about Princess Wu, some quite unkind. Lactuda guessed. Feng Wuzhu probably forbade anyone from talking about her, and killed those who did to make an example. Classic scare tactics. Suddenly it clicked. So, Feng Wuzhu rejected the marriage proposal when he was younger, then regretted it and couldn't bear to see her marry someone else. So he killed her husband. So that's why Feng Wuzhu is so cruel, vicious, and twisted. She suddenly smirked. I have to find a way to fix him and stop him from bothering me. A guard rushed in. Your Highness, the third princess of Longzhou is at the National Temple, praying for fate under the Tree of Fate. His Majesty requests your presence. What? The Tree of Fate was covered in pink peach blossoms. A gentle breeze rustled the red prayer ribbons tied to its branches. From afar, Feng Wuzhu silently watched the two figures talking beneath the tree, his expression unreadable. Even Yen Lai, who had served him for years, was puzzled. His lordship knew the crown prince and the third princess were here. That's why he rushed over. Why isn't he approaching them? Why is he just standing here? On the table between them were an inkstone, a brush, and 2 prayer ribbons. The 2 royals stood facing each other, the wind blowing gently, neither speaking a word. What is this woman planning? Lactuda wondered, feeling a knot of tension in her stomach. Wu Liu looked down at her from her superior height, her tone dripping with malice. Crown Prince, you're still unmarried, aren't you? Why not pray for a husband? Tuda saw right through her. She knows I'm supposedly interested in men, so she'll write a man's name. If I write someone's name, I'll be taking sides, and that'll be trouble. She smoothly deflected. Shouldn't the princess pray first? I can't jump the line, but I am curious. Who could make the princess abandon her usual shyness and come to the National Temple to pray for a husband? Wu Liu frowned. Is this guy seriously obsessed with men? She sneered. You're a man, Crown Prince. Why are you so timid? Have you no masculine pride? Tuda, unfazed, decided to play up her playboy persona. Hey, if I listed all my admirers, they could circle the T on Yao capital 40 times. Picking up a brush, she grinned. Well, since the princess insists, I won't be polite. She wrote down a single character, Ing. Wu Liu chuckled, as expected of the crown prince. Still hung up on Ing Qin, I see. A cold wind blew, and Feng Wuzhu, standing nearby, scowled, his voice a low growl. Ing Qin. Lactuda remembering Ingqin's stunning beauty, said casually, of course. Calling Ingqin the most beautiful man in the world wouldn't be an exaggeration. Then, she quickly added several more names, her voice calm. But choosing just one isn't my style. Looking at the prayer strip covered in names, she read them aloud with satisfaction. Wan Shang Yifeng, Long Geo Daik, Mink Yicheng. The weather is perfect and the flower petals are falling. What a great day to pray for fate. Feng Wuzhu, however, was not pleased. His knuckles cracked as he clenched his fists, gritting his teeth. My name isn't there. Wu Lu Yu, seeing this, sneered. Such blatant promiscuity. Disgusting. No manners. Lac Tuda ignored her, focused on her prayer. I hear this tree of fate is quite effective. She tossed the prayer strip into the air. May my wishes come true. Her face shone with anticipation. I'll just wait for the good news. Imagining a future surrounded by handsome men, she grinned. But just then, a hand reached out. Wu Lu Yu swatted the prayer strip out of the air, sending it fluttering to the ground. She smirked. Lac Tuda frowned. Bitch. She kicked the prayer strip back into the air. The small bell attached to it jingled as it landed perfectly on a branch. Wu Lu Yu feigned an apology. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I wasn't careful. Before she could finish, Lac Tuda slapped her across the face. Smack! Wu Lu Yu clutched her cheek, her eyes wide with disbelief. Lac Tuda, you. Tuda cut her off, her voice sharp. My temper isn't very good. You almost ruined my prayer. I'm very angry, and when I'm angry, there will be consequences. Feng Wuzhu, watching from afar, nodded approvingly. Lac Tuda is truly entertaining. I like this side of him. Wu Lu Yu pointed at Tuda, fuming. You dare strike this princess? I'll. Lac Tuda's expression turned cold. Does the princess wish to report this to my father or to the emperor of Longzhou? Either way, remember this, she said, her voice hardening. You were the one who insulted me first, calling me promiscuous. Then you deliberately tried to sabotage my prayer. Who is truly in the wrong here? Let others decide. Wu Lu Yu, arrogant as ever, exploded. You. Very well. Do you dare come with me to see your father? We'll see what he has to say. Lac Tuda smirked. Lead the way. I'm not afraid of you. The wind rustled through the trees as they walked off together, the atmosphere thick with tension. Yen Lai suddenly spoke. My lord, if you had intervened, the crown prince wouldn't have to face the emperor. Feng Wuzhu snapped. He wrote the names of every handsome man under the sun except mine. Why should I speak up for him? Yen Lai, stunned by his master's reaction, thought, is his lordship jealous? Really jealous? Sulking, Feng Wuzhu glared at the tree of fate, his face darkening. The tree of fate, may all your wishes come true, waiting for good news. He scoffed, unleashing a blast of energy at the tree. With a loud whoosh, the tree was engulfed in flames. Turning away, he said coldly, return to the palace. The peaceful morning quiet of the opulent palace was shattered by the emperor's furious roar. This incident with the Long Zhao princess. I expect this to be the last. Do you understand? Lac Tuda emerged from the main hall, thinking smugly. That princess didn't get what she wanted. Her eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Father actually took my side. He's not worried about Long Zhao retaliating. And he even delegated authority to me. Did I bet on the right horse? Two servant girls rushed over. Your Highness. She waved them off. Return to the crown prince's residence immediately. I have important matters to attend to. Feng Wuzhu had been silently following her. His golden eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Yen Lai, having gathered some information, reported, Your Majesty didn't punish the crown prince. Instead, he spoke with him privately for quite some time. No one knows what they discussed. Feng Wuzhu's face darkened. No one can hide anything from me. Follow him. They followed discreetly. The leaves rustled in the wind as Lac Tuda strolled along, hands behind her head, thinking, now that I have military power and control of the Ministry of Justice, I can finally start building my own forces. She grinned. I actually have to thank Feng Wuzhu for this. If the emperor wasn't wary of him, he wouldn't have agreed to my request so easily. Recalling the earlier conversation in the imperial study, she had said, her voice serious, Father, Feng Wuzhu is becoming too powerful. He doesn't even respect you. And with his 20,000 royal guards, he holds the entire kingdom in fear. I don't want to see Tian Yao continue down this path. The emperor had looked at her, surprised. My son, are you? Looking him in the eye, she said slowly, I've finally come to my senses. I've been foolish and irresponsible, but I intend to dedicate myself to this country and be a proper crown prince. If you trust me, Father, allow me to raise my own troops. Perhaps then, I can stand on equal footing with Feng Wu-zhu and restore the authority of the Tian Yao royal family. The emperor stroked his beard, his expression unreadable. You've finally seen the light. Very well. I hope you won't regret this decision. If you're sincere, I will grant your request. I plan to establish a divine strategy battalion, a powerful force second only to the royal guards, and place you in command. Lactuda, surprised by how smoothly everything was going, said excitedly, "Thank you for your trust, Father. I won't disappoint you. Oh, and Father, I've recently taken an interest in law. Would you consider allowing me to oversee the Ministry of Justice?" He nodded. "If you're interested, then take charge of it." Back in the present, she was no longer in the intrigue-filled palace, but by a peaceful lake. Lactuda rubbed her chin, a flicker of worry in her eyes. Is it just me, or did Father seem a little regretful when he agreed to give me military power? And he didn't seem happy when I said I wanted to work hard. This emperor, he's definitely hiding something. She recalled his words. Your actions today were different. This could become one of your advantages. What did he mean by that? Feng Wu-zhu, following behind her, observed her relaxed demeanor. It seems Prince Feng's little scheme didn't faze him. But the mention of Prince Feng brought back the memory of that prayer ribbon covered in names. That prayer ribbon, a wave of irritation washed over him. My name wasn't there. Lactuda, you have some explaining to do. Lactuda, however, was preoccupied with matters of state. She tapped her fan against her head. This isn't important. What's important is consolidating my power. Quickly, while Father and Feng Wu-zhu are at odds, I can use that regent to squeeze more power out of Father. She turned to her servant girls. As soon as we return, announce the recruitment. Post the requirements I wrote on the notice board. Luni, though confused, obeyed. Recruitment. Do you have any specific requirements, Your Highness? Tu Da's eyes lit up. First and foremost, handsome. Luni was speechless. This is military recruitment. Lactuda continued, and unmarried. If they have a complicated family situation, don't even consider them. Unmarried means fewer complications. Feng Wu-zhu, approaching, overheard her. What is he planning? Tu Da, oblivious to his presence, continued listing her requirements. Slender build, excellent physique, abdominal muscles, and a nice chest are a plus. A slender build is good for archery and mounted units. A strong physique is suitable for infantry and heavy cavalry. And abs and a chest mean they're at least somewhat fit, which will make training easier. Feng Wu-zhu gritted his teeth. Lactuda, the crown prince, lost in her plans, continued. We could divide them into two groups, a supermodel group and a hunky group. The slender ones for archers and light cavalry. The strong ones for infantry and heavy cavalry. Greater killing power. Just then, a familiar, deep voice, laced with irritation, interrupted her. Crown Prince, what are you recruiting? Male concubines or male prostitutes? Lactuda froze. Sensing impending doom, she slowly turned around. Feng Wu-zhu glared at her, his face dark, his voice laced with displeasure. Who gave you permission to recruit that? He demanded, his voice dangerously low. Lactuda swayed slightly, the wooden bridge creaking beneath her. He didn't wait for an explanation, grabbing her by the collar with one hand and her waist with the other. Who gave you permission? He glared at the nearby servants. Get lost. The servants, trembling before his aura, scurried away. Why, yes, your lordship. He gripped her chin, but she glared back defiantly. Male concubines. I'm trying to restore peace to the court. Father ordered the formation of the Divine Strategy Battalion under my command. I practically had to beg him to agree. Realizing his mistake, she was recruiting soldiers. Feng Wu-zhu paused. Lactuda seized the opportunity. With the regent's influence, Father must have heard about my request. This could go badly. I need to gain Feng Wu-zhu's trust. She patted his shoulder, catching him off guard. Let go of me. Speaking of recruitment, I was just looking for you. Father must be so wary of you that he agreed immediately. I have to thank you. Feng Wu-zhu's expression remained unchanged. Lactuda, I don't trust easily. His expression softened slightly. But I trust you. Lactuda blushed, stunned. He's serious. He actually trusts me. He leaned in, whispering in her ear, so don't disappoint me. Then he whispered something else, making her blush and grip his robe, her voice trembling. Feng Wu-zhu, we're both men. She protested. What are you doing? Feng Wu-zhu simply smirked. What's wrong with that? Lactuda, are you aroused? She shoved him away, her face burning. No, I have excellent self-control. This doesn't affect me. Don't flatter yourself, Lord Regent. Flower petals swirled around them as Feng Wu-Zhu wrapped his arms around her, his lips curling into a playful smile. Really? He asked, his hand toying with a strand of her hair. If you won't tell the truth, then I'll just have to test it myself. The blush on her face deepened. Knowing things were about to go too far, she blurted out, Hey, don't do anything rash. I admit it. I feel something. I do. Satisfied with her answer, he released her. Looking at her flushed face, he smiled. Finally, Lactuda, relieved, quickly seized the opportunity. He let go. Time to escape. I have to go. Before he could react, she leaped onto the railing of the bridge, then used her internal energy to jump back, putting distance between them. I have important matters to attend to. Gotta run. But she didn't get far. Suddenly, her internal energy faltered. Damn it, he distracted me. She plunged into the lotus pond below as Feng Wu-Zhu watched. With a splash, she surfaced, a lotus leaf on her head, coughing and sputtering. Glaring at the culprit, she grumbled, Feng Wu-Zhu, you jinx. Feng Wu-Zhu, kneeling by the edge of the pond, watched her with amusement. If you beg, he offered kindly, I'll pull you out. Lactuda, refusing to be humiliated, retorted, I'm not easy to bully either. She wasn't going down alone. With a sudden yank, she pulled Feng Wu-Zhu into the pond with her. Lactuda, you. Splash. Water sprayed everywhere as they both plunged beneath the surface. Their eyes met underwater. Then they quickly resurfaced, two figures, one male, one female, emerging from the lotus pond. He raised his hand, ready to punish her. You don't know what's good for you. But he stopped, his hand frozen midair. He stared at Lactuda, her brow furrowed, silently glaring at him. A strange feeling washed over him. Why does she keep provoking me? Could it be I'm the one losing control? Two figures, one in the water, one running, appeared in the courtyard. She turned and yelled, Regent, if you like soaking in the pond, then soak. I'm leaving. He smirked, sending a wave of energy towards her. Try to run. She yelped as he pulled her back with his power. I'm not coming back. His handsome face frowned. She's that repulsed by me. Rip. Her eyes widened in horror as her clothes tore. Damn it. She cursed him inwardly. Feng Wu-Zhu, you son of a. She struggled against his hold, kicking off a roof tile and grabbing a nearby pillar. Tears and snot streamed down her face. Oh, dear pillar, I'd rather die than be with that old man. He scowled, his face darkening. Feng Wu-Zhu, she yelled, what do you want? Suddenly, she was yanked away from the pillar, her shoes flying off. Clutching the pillar desperately, she cried inwardly, my pants. My pants. Hold on. Don't be afraid of the wind and rain. Stand strong. But her pants had other ideas. They ripped, revealing her fair legs and the shorts underneath. I want to die. He's going to find out. He gulped, staring at her legs. If you're going to resist like this, then... He flew out of the pond, his brow furrowed. Lactuda, I don't mind taking a few steps closer. He tossed his outer robe aside. Feeling the wind die down, she sighed in relief, unaware that he was right behind her. She gasped. He pulled her into his arms, his voice a low growl. You will never escape me. She stammered, no longer defiant. Feng Wu-Zhu. He lifted her chin. I've indulged you long enough. His eyes narrowed. I wonder who gave you the courage to write every other man's name onto the tree of fate, except mine. She blinked, confused. You wanted me to write your name. He leaned in close, his voice a husky whisper. You should have. She breathed, staring at him, her mind racing. He's too close. This is bad. He'll find out. She struggled against his embrace. What are you doing? I'm a man. He ripped open her robe, revealing the bandages binding her chest. A man, he growled. I'll show you what happens when you defy me. He pinned her against the pillar, his eyes burning into hers. You constantly try to escape, to challenge my authority. Don't blame me for taking what I want. He lowered his head, his lips brushing against her neck. But his kiss was gentle. Blushing furiously, she bit his shoulder. Feng Wu-Zhu. He cried out in pain. She shoved him away and turned to leave. Then turned back and yelled, Do you think you can force me to submit? Stop bothering me. She ran off like the wind, glancing back to see if he was following. Halfway there, something fell out of her robes. My chest binder. Thank God he didn't see that. She ran faster. He watched her go, his brow furrowed. The more I want you, the further you run. Standing beneath the peach blossoms, his eyes darkened with determination. Lactuda, I will have you. Peach blossoms drifted down onto the rooftops. She fanned herself, relieved. Finally, I'm exhausted. I need to stay away from Feng Wuzhu. A sudden breeze made her look up. A figure in red, long hair flowing in the wind, stood on the roof. Crown Prince, long time no see. She grinned, looking up at the handsome man. Well, hello there, beautiful. What brings you here at this hour? Do you want me? The moon was full and bright, the wind whispering through the trees. He jumped down, approaching her with a beautiful smile, tucking a stray strand of hair behind his ear. It has been a while, Crown Prince. How are you? Hearts filled her eyes as she blushed, another nosebleed trickling down. Calm down. Focus on business. They found a place to sit. I hear the Crown Prince desires peace in the court, he began. She quickly waved her hand dismissively. Let's not talk about that right now. She leaned closer, lifting his chin with her fan. Such a waste of beauty, working in a brothel. I have a much better job for you. He raised an eyebrow. A soldier in the Crown Prince's army. She giggled. No, my male concubine. He looked at her, surprised. The Crown Prince's male concubine. Bound to the Crown Prince, having to protect him. What's his motive? She frowned, crossing her arms. I just don't want you to die. If I had to have a motive, I suppose I wouldn't mind you as an ally instead of an enemy. He looked thoughtful, reaching out and taking a strand of her hair, bringing it to his nose and inhaling. His eyes darkened. Crown Prince, do you not desire me? She almost pounced on him. Control yourself. This man is pure temptation. Poking his chest, she said desire is one thing. She stared at him intently. Acting on it is another. Turning away, she added, I just want you to know, life is short. Don't waste it. He watched her go, his hand resting on his chin. Very well, Lactuda. I accept your offer. In 3 days, I will come to the Crown Prince's residence as your concubine. He stood up. If that is all, then I'll take my leave. I wouldn't want to interrupt the Crown Prince's nightly strolls in his underwear. She froze, mortified. What? Back at the palace, 2 servant girls bowed. Your Highness. She waved them away. I have a headache. I'm going to sleep. You're dismissed. She slammed the door shut, leaving the 2 servant girls to exchange confused glances. His Highness seems troubled. We should leave him be. Just as she drifted off to sleep, a creaking sound came from the window. He slipped inside. He reached her bedside, just as she mumbled in her sleep, Feng Wuzhu, you bastard. He frowned. Even in her dreams, she's angry with me. He placed a hand on her forehead. She's burning up, he thought. Am I truly that repulsive? Even in her sleep, she wants to escape me. He was staring at her rumpled clothes when she mumbled again, Damn Feng Wuzhu, even in my dreams, you won't leave me alone. He chuckled softly at her words. Taking a pill from his robes, he said, Open your mouth. When she didn't comply, he placed the pill in his own mouth, then kissed her, transferring the medicine. She clutched his robes, the kiss deepening. Their hands intertwined as the kiss grew more passionate. He reluctantly pulled away, looking at her with tenderness. I can't help myself with you. He stroked her flushed cheek. You really are falling for me. He stood up, gazing at her, and was about to leave when she yelled, I never want to see you again. You bastard Feng Wuzhu. He stiffened, a flicker of anger in his eyes. He leaned down and kissed her again. Whether you see me or not, whether you love me or not, he said, his eyes fixed on her face. Inches from his is not your decision. The next morning, 2 birds chirped in the trees outside the palace. She woke up with a gasp. The fever had broken. Rubbing the back of her neck, she recalled a dream of kissing him. She touched her lips, puzzled. Why are they so sore? Pacing back and forth, she muttered, Pervert Feng Wuzhu, even coming to molest me in my dreams. Her eyes fell on a porcelain vase. Wait a minute. She frowned, a suspicion forming in her mind. She picked up the vase, turning it upside down and shaking it. My canon blueprints. The ones I drew a few days ago. They're gone. I'll put them in here. Who took them? It couldn't have been an outsider. Unless they were incredibly skilled, there would have been some sign. It must be an inside job. She smashed the vase in anger. Footsteps approached, followed by a voice. Your Highness. 2 servant girls rushed in, alarmed by the sound of breaking porcelain. Your Highness. What happened? Her voice was low and dark. I put a drawing in this vase. Now it's gone. Find it. The 2 servant girls searched every corner. She watched them closely. They don't seem to know anything. She frowned, rubbing her chin. Even if they took it, the blueprints would be in the hands of whoever is behind them by now. Suddenly, her expression changed. She scratched her head and forced a smile. Never mind. I must have misplaced it. It'll turn up eventually. You're dismissed. As they turned to leave, she stopped them, her voice serious. Don't forget your duty is to protect me, and nothing else. I wouldn't want your young lives to be cut short over something trivial. The servant girls immediately knelt, their eyes wide with fear. We would never disobey, Your Highness. Please rest assured. She nodded. Good. Now, did anyone come by last night after I fell asleep? The servant girl thought for a moment. No one came to your chambers, Your Highness. She turned and waved her hand dismissively. Get out. I have to attend court. As the servant girls left, she muttered, I actually dreamed about that pervert. The wind howled through the courtroom as a group of officials stood waiting for Feng Wuzhu again. Seriously, she thought, annoyed. She entered, grumbling, waiting for my ass. Her face changed as she saw her father. Father. The officials bowed, but not to the emperor. We greet the Lord Regent. She stared at the entrance, stunned. Feng Wuzhu entered, his eyes fixed on her. The emperor frowned, displeased by the official's greeting. Father's not happy with Feng Wuzhu, she noted. Suddenly, a chill ran down her spine. He's staring at me. She turned, meeting his gaze. He studied her. I wonder if the medicine worked. Annoyed by his stare, she snapped, What are you looking at? As if I'd wait up for you. He scowled. Rome has been acting up. I intend to wipe them out. Looking at the emperor, he continued, I believe the crown prince is capable of assisting with the strategy. What are your thoughts, Your Majesty? She tensed. What? That pervert wants me to go to war. Your Majesty, she said, bowing, the regent can handle Rome himself. There's no need for my involvement. The emperor disagreed. If the regent values your assistance, then consider it an opportunity to gain experience. You are in command of the Divine Strategy Battalion now. Learning from the regent will be beneficial. Dejected, she replied, I obey, father. Glaring at Feng Wuzhu, she thought, that bastard is up to no good. The emperor waved his hand dismissively. I'm tired. You're all dismissed. Walking back, her face was grim. An official, seeing her, asked, Your Highness, you didn't greet the regent at the Golden Loan Palace today, yet he didn't seem angry. You two must have a good relationship. She scowled. A good relationship? That bastard loves to bother me. Rejected by Princess Wuyu, now he's got a twisted psyche, hates women, and has started harassing me. A pair of cold eyes fixed on her. She shivered, turning around. Him again. He glared at her. She hid her discomfort behind her fan. He looks tired. Was he out robbing graves last night? Suddenly, the memory of their kiss last night flashed through her mind. She shook her head, slapping herself. Snap out of it. He has nothing to do with me. Don't provoke him. Stay away. She gave a nervous laugh. Lord Regent, what a coincidence. I was just joking earlier. He stared at her impassively. So the crown prince believes I've been rejected by Princess Wuyu and have developed a dislike for women and have thus begun harassing you. She chuckled nervously. Well, that's what I said, as a joke. She fumed inwardly. I'm not afraid of you, but if you do anything weird here in public, my reputation will be ruined. He raised an eyebrow, then suddenly pulled her towards him with his internal energy. She yelped. What are you? He wrapped his arms around her waist, whispering in her ear, Actually, I don't like women anymore. She blushed. What does he mean? He touched her forehead. Where are you? He smiled. Your fever's gone. He leaned closer, their faces almost touching. Remember, no insulting me in public. His lips brushed against hers. Or I'll teach you a lesson myself. He kissed her. Who said you could? Kiss me. She punched him, but he didn't let go. He opened his eyes, glaring at her, and shoved her hard. Yin Lai, watching, clutched his chest. His lordship, is he really pursuing the crown prince? This isn't very romantic. She stumbled back, crying out, grabbing a tree root to steady herself. I almost hit a tree. That bastard. Feng Wuzhu. She yelled, attacking him with her fan. With a flick of his wrist, he sent the fan flying back towards her. Know your place. It hit her in the face. She managed to block it with her hand, and she yelped. He frowned, puzzled. With his skills, he should have dodged that easily. She was confused. Why did I hesitate? He's unpredictable. I should always be on guard. Why did I lower my defenses? He reached for her hand, his eyes filled with concern. Let me see. She pulled away. I'm fine. Must you always refuse my kindness? He snapped. She scoffed. I'm always happy to refuse your kindness, Lord Regent. Turning away, she walked off, thinking, why do I keep letting my guard down around him? And why can't I remember what was so important? He watched her go, his eyes unreadable. Are you regretting it now? Regretting hurting me? This concludes today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Silence descended, broken only by the rustling leaves. Feng Wuzhu, lost in thought, his expression a mixture of frustration and regret, finally said, send the high-quality jade to the crown prince's residence. Yin Lai, sensing his master's distress, said, "Given the crown prince's current attitude towards you, my lord, he might just throw it back." Feng Wuzhu's face darkened. He wouldn't dare. Then, a flicker of uncertainty crossed his face. Knowing him, he probably would. Yanlai suggested, "The crown prince is recruiting soldiers. Perhaps we could offer assistance as a gesture of goodwill." He thought, someone has to remind his lordship what he'd do without me. Very well. Feng Wuzhu quickly changed his plan. "Wait until I return to the residence to make arrangements." Elsewhere, Lactuda was fuming. "That bastard, Feng Wuzhu," she muttered, so angry she'd taken a wrong turn. "Making me so mad I got lost." She found herself in a secluded, cobweb-filled area. "Is this the Cold Palace?" Curious, she pushed open the door. The building was dilapidated, but surprisingly clean. A voice suddenly echoed, "Who's there?" She turned, startled. "Huh." A young man sat perched on the railing, dressed in simple but elegant blue robes. It was Lac Xiaoqi. He looked at her with surprise. Lactuda, captivated by his appearance, thought, an angel. Calm down, she told herself. Could this be the legendary seventh prince, locked away in the Cold Palace? Lac Xiaoqi, she smiled. "If you're the seventh prince, then I'm your older brother." Lac Xiaoqi, hearing this, rushed over and threw his arms around her. "Elder brother, it's me, Xiaoqi." He asked excitedly, "What are you doing here, elder brother? Are you here to visit me?" He grabbed her hand, accidentally brushing against her wound. Tuda winced. "Elder brother, you're hurt." Lac Xiaoqi helped her sit down. "Sit here, and I'll blow on it for you." He gently blew on her wound. Touched by his kindness, she ruffled his hair. "You're so sweet, Xiaoqi. Are you lonely here all by yourself? I'll visit you more often." The memory of Feng Wuzhu stroking her hair, his eyes full of affection, flashed through her mind. Why did he do that? She wondered. Lac Xiaoqi, beaming, said, "Really? I like you, elder brother." He shyly tugged on her sleeve. "You seemed angry earlier," he asked. "Do you hate someone?" Her anger flared up again. Of course. Thinking of Feng Wuzhu, she growled, "That bastard. One day Seeing her lost in thought, Lac Xiaoqi said, "Elder brother." She snapped back to reality. "I was so lost in thought about Feng Wuzhu, I spaced out. I was just thinking about someone I hate," she explained. "He's done so many disgusting things. It makes me angry just remembering them." Lac Xiaoqi sensed the depth of her feelings. "This person must be important to you, elder brother." She stomped her foot. "Of course, he is." She imagined Feng Wuzhu on his knees, begging for mercy. "One of my life goals is to make him tie himself up and beg for forgiveness." She sighed dreamily. Lac Xiaoqi, looking uncomfortable, said, "Elder brother." Realizing she'd gone too far, she quickly backtracked. "I just find him disgusting. That's why I overreacted. Don't worry." She ruffled his hair. "What about you, Xiaoqi? Do you hate anyone?" He looked away, hesitant. Sensing his fear, she quickly reassured him. "Don't worry, Xiaoqi. No matter who you are, I'll protect you. I'll get you out of here." Lac Xiaoqi thought he saw me. A panicked voice suddenly called out, "Your Highness." It was Lu Ni. "What are you doing here? You need to return to the residence immediately." "Ingqin, he's here." But he collapsed at the gate. Lu Ni's mind flashed back to the image of Ingqin, dressed in red, lying unconscious and unattended. Ingqin lay motionless on a bed. Tuda stood beside him, asking, "Physician, what's wrong with him?" The physician quickly checked his pulse. "He suffers from a heart ailment, a deep-seated melancholy. Medicine is useless, and he refuses to stop drinking or take his medication. This illness is beyond my control. Unless we can obtain the heart-linking lotus from Tian Lang Temple, even the gods cannot save him. He doesn't want to live, Crown Prince. Why force it?" Tuda frowned. "Everyone has moments of despair, even suicidal thoughts. But if he wants to give up, as his friend, I won't let him. Who else will help him if I don't?" She turned to leave. "I'll go find the medicine. In the meantime, physician, please do everything you can." The physician bowed. "Very well. I'll prepare a prescription. 3 doses a day, morning, noon, and night. And absolutely no alcohol." Tuda looked back at Ingqin, wiping a tear from his cheek. "Now that you're in my care, you're under my protection." She declared, "I won't let you die." Late that night, at the military headquarters, Feng Wuzhu sat on his throne, fuming. "He hasn't come." Yanlai said awkwardly, "My lord, I don't think he will." I heard Ingqin collapsed at the Crown Prince's gate. The Crown Prince was overjoyed, even singing and carrying him inside. Now that Ingqin is ill, the Crown Prince has summoned a physician. Feng Wuzhu glared at him. "Singing? What did he sing?" Yin Lai, recalling Tu Da's words, stammered something about, "My smile is heyo heyo. The beauty in my heart is." I don't remember the rest. I can't tell him the lyrics were about a beautiful man. He shrugged helplessly. I don't know. Feng Wu Zhu slammed his fist down, shattering the wooden armrest. He stood up abruptly to the crown prince's residence. Meanwhile, Tuda was busy brewing medicine, a gleeful expression on her face. The second cannon blueprint is complete, just waiting for the fish to bite. A guard entered. "Your Highness, Ing Qin has awakened." A steaming bowl of medicine sat on the table. Ing Qin, looking dazed, sat up in bed. "Beautiful, you're finally awake," Tuda said, picking up the bowl. "Will you drink this yourself, or do I have to tie you up with a 1,000-year chain and force it down your throat?" Ing Qin, staring at the foul-smelling concoction, thought the 1,000-year chain. Lucky me, he quickly downed the medicine, grimacing. "So bitter." Tuda lipped, pleased. "That's more like it." Clapping him on the shoulder, she said, "Don't worry, I'll get you the heart-linking lotus from Tianlang Temple." Ing Qin looked at her, his voice filled with guilt. "You brought me here, and now you're going to get medicine for me. Why? I try to harm you. Why are you helping me?" "It doesn't matter," she said. "Just accept it. You're not giving up, are you?" She leaned closer. "There's nothing in this world that can't be overcome. As long as you're alive, there's always hope." Ing Qin's eyes, fixed on her, filled with admiration. "Like Tuda, I believe you." She looked down. "You're like I was before. That's why I have to help you." She grinned. "Ing Qin, as long as you live, I'll even find you gemstones as bright as the stars." He smiled. "All right." Suddenly, he pulled her into a hug. "Whatever Shao says." "What the?" She stared at him, flustered. A commotion erupted outside, and the door suddenly flew open, separating them. Tuda looked towards the doorway, bewildered. "What's going on?" Feng Wuzhu glared at Ing Qin, his voice laced with jealousy. "How dare you touch what's mine?" Under the pale moonlight, the residence echoed with angry shouts. "How dare you touch what's mine?" Ing Qin retorted, "Who says they can't be mine?" Feng Wuzhu, enraged, growled, "Ing Qin, you cannot afford to provoke me." Ing Qin, unafraid, drew a dagger. "Oh!" Feng Wuzhu, equally defiant, drew his own weapon. "You're courting death." They clashed. Ing Qin, grinning at Tuda, asked Shouda, "Any other rivals I should know about?" "Did I hear that right? Rivals? Can I just ask who he likes first?" The clang of weapons sent shivers down her spine. "Wait, stop!" she yelled, trying to intervene. Ignoring her, they continued to fight Feng Wuzhu's power, cracking the ground beneath them. Feng Wuzhu, his brow furrowed in fury, roared, "Touch what's mine, and you will face annihilation." He attacked, but Ing Qin dodged. The fight raged on. Tuda, still bewildered, thought, "Are they sure they're fighting over me? Shouldn't it be, well, anyone else?" Ing Qin looked back at her. "Shouda, besides us, has anyone else tried to get close to you? Or been intimate with you?" "Intimate? Shouchino." She coughed, then said proudly, "Intimate? Absolutely not. I'm as pure as the driven snow." Both men stopped fighting and said in unison, "Liar." Ing Qin said, "The regent's martial arts skills are unparalleled. Few can last 10 moves against you." He smirked, "But I'd like to try." "Sometimes," Feng Wuzhu countered, "such trials are paid for with one's life." Ing Qin retorted, "I'm a man. I'm not afraid." They glared at each other, their hatred burning. Tuda, watching them, was utterly bewildered. "Why are they fighting over me? I understand Feng Wuzhu wanting to control me, but Ing Qin, why?" Suddenly, Ing Qin faltered. "Damn it, my body." Tuda felt a pang of concern. He just fainted earlier. He must still be weak. If they keep fighting, even if Feng Wuzhu wins, it won't be an honorable victory. "I'm not going to take advantage of your weakness," Feng Wuzhu said. Ing Qin, grimacing, asked, "Is the regent's poison acting up again?" Unable to hold back any longer, Ing Qin unleashed a powerful technique. Feng Wuzhu's eyes widened in surprise. The Imperial Dragon Seal. Everyone gasped. The Imperial Dragon Seal. Is he insane? The backlash could cripple him. Ing Qin turned and glared at Tuda. "Shouda, it's all your fault. If you had seduced a few more men and given me more rivals, we could have taken down Feng Wuzhu together. Then I could just kill them all off one by one. Why do I have to go through all this trouble?" Tuda yelled back, "How is this my fault? You're the one." Ing Qin, Feng Wuzhu said, preparing to attack, "Are you ready to die?" Yin Lai, horrified, yelled, "Stop. He's using the returning dragon strike. If he completes it, they'll both." Tuda, seeing this, desperately searched for a solution. "This can't happen. Mutual destruction is not an option." She blurted out, "My dear little master, I miss you so much. Come here and let me hug you." Feng Wuzhu froze, stunned. She rushed towards him, repeating, "I miss you so much. Let me hug you." His eyes widened in surprise. Ing Qin yelled, panicked, shouted to get out of there. Even Yen Lai was terrified. Oh God, the crown prince. They're clashing internal energies. He'll be crushed. Tuda continued to run towards them, struggling against the pressure. Their internal